All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, people from all over. Welcome to this fantastic show that always gives hour every time inafika masaa ya saa 4 usiku. Karibuni sana. I'm your host Jakes, the moderator, and of course this is Kenya News Link hapa ndipo, because this is your home for all online content. Karibu sana, karibu tu sana. I know you are well and the Lord God has kept you so well. Thank you for tuning in, thank you for joining in. Wajuze wawili watatu kwa kulike, subscribe na kwa kushare hii story kupitia comment section, kupitia wewe kuguza hiyo subscription button, lakini zaidi ya yote jiunge nasi kwa hii fantastic show. We have another great one about to happen here at Kenya News Link. I'm of course your host, and of course I'm ready to have you on board. All right, I see many tayari wameanza kutuma ujumbe. Tuma ujumbe ni juzi unatazama ukiwa wapi, na pia tujaribu kung'amua hili swala ambalo linaibuka, swala la Raila Odinga na William Ruto. Kwani ubeshte umerudi? Hawa jamaa wawili walikuwa mahasimu wa tangu jadi, walianza kama mabeshte, kidogo kidogo wakakuwa na very serious fallout, and sasa ndio hao wameanza sasa kuonekana pamoja. Je, hii ndio makubaliano ambayo tunarejelea? Are we going back to the handshake? Are we going back to that regime where the opposition and the government seems to be working from the same template? I don't know about it, but that's what we'll be discussing in this fantastic show. Make sure you subscribe to Kenya News Link and let this be your #1 show, and such content will always find you whenever you subscribe. We have so many other nice clips hapo kwa Kenya News Link. Hakikisha umesubscribe na umekuwa part of this show. Thank you so much. I see Kenneth Kirui akondani anasema Bomet, you are watching. Watu wa Bomet, habari zenyu, karibuni sana. Good year, good to see you. Hope you are well. Karibu sana. Asante sana. I'm telling you, ni kutamu huku nje, ni kuzuri sana huku nje. I'm telling you, siasa, as Mandago will always tell you, usieke kwa lungs. Usieke kwa heart, eka kwa lungs. Kwa sababu any day, anytime, a politician ulidhani hawawezi elewana, wanaweza elewana na wawe mabeshte. All right? So enemies can be friends, and in any case, there are no permanent friends. Neither do we have permanent enemies in politics. Why am I saying so? There is this clip trending on all platforms. I don't know if you have seen this one. I know you have seen this one. All right.
Tunasema Kenya mpya inawezekana.
Inawezekana. Leo ni leo.
Na inawezekana.
Inawezekana. Leo ni leo.
Kenya mpya inawezekana.
Inawezekana. Leo ni leo.
Nchi ambayo kuna raha na ustawi.
Inawezekana.
Na inawezekana.
Leo ni leo.
All right, they normally say a picture speaks 1,000 words, and that in a picture you can really tell a lot. You don't need to be told the story, you just need to picture and put your hands and your fingers, and 2 plus 2 will always add up. I can tell you for free, these photos zilisambaa jana kwa mtandao, jana jioni ndio tulizipokea, and I'm telling you already tongues are wagging all over. People are speculating, and in any case, speculations are far from what we are thinking now. My friends, I'm telling you, it's interesting, all right? Kenya Kwanza Azimio, what do you make of all this? What do you make of all this? This photo here, these two gentlemen, one time they were on the opposite side. One time one was Azimio, one was Kenya Kwanza. One time, one person did not agree with the results. We took to the streets. People lost their lives. We didn't ever anticipate we would see such photos. Of course, they are not. We don't mean that they are not supposed to be together. But when you see this, hey, yeah, 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 you ask yourself, is it worth dying for these guys? But tutakuwa na show moja fiti, show moja kali ninao jamaa wanajiunga nami. But let me know what you make of all this. I'll be playing many other clips in relation to this meeting. One president of Uganda played host to this fine gentleman. And of course, we know Raila Odinga is on the quest to be the AUC chairperson. And because of that, maybe he's trying to find friends. And of course, our country must nominate him through the president, and the president must equally vote for him. So of course ameanza kujiandaa ili kuweza kupata hiyo support from the government and support from one William Ruto. William Ruto is not hiding his cards anymore. He's outright there showing us that he's ready to walk the talk. He's ready to support Raila Odinga. He's ready to be with him. All right. And of course, this is making some people quite uneasy. There are guys who are feeling sad about it. There are some who are feeling angry about it. I don't know how you're feeling, but all the same, whatever your feeling is, I know somehow, this might be good for the country. It might also equally be bad for the country. Why? Many have said and have arguably agreed that Raila Odinga has brought out the finest of all arguments and as far as politics is concerned. Siasa za Kenya zimekuwa tamu whenever Raila Odinga is on the campaign trail, whenever Raila Odinga is on the podium, whenever Raila Odinga is on the ballot. But now, with his absence, what does that even mean? Because the responsibility that he now undertakes will really shape what he becomes, will really shift what he becomes. All right. So what do you make of this? What becomes of you? Those are the things we'll be looking at in this show. Sorry, we have not been in for at least 4 days, but now we are back. We had some serious challenges that we were able to tackle. Thanks to you for all the support and all the love that you showed us despite our absence. Asante tu sana. But this is Kenya News Link, and we are quite back. To get in touch with us, there is an email scrolling down your screen. You can contact us. Let us have your feedback. Let us know how this show can be improved. We really value your sentiments. So speak to us. Let us know equally how best we can really be of great support to you as well. Equally, if you have great news happening, we will have a number for you, and we will have something that you can communicate to us one on one. All right. But for now, use the email address to really get in touch with us. Asante sana. Good year, karibu sana. Kenneth Kilui, asante sana. Like this video, hapo ambapo unatutazama, we are live on all our platforms. Karibuni, karibuni tu sana. Okay, I'm equally joined by my able friend and brother, one Mr. G mwenye jamaa mzima amejaja. Karibu sana my brother. Hope you are well. Habari leo. You're good?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Karibu sana kwa hii show. Hope you are doing quite amazingly well. All right. Now, let's begin with this footage from one Citizen TV, where we listen to some of those interesting moments that have happened, including today, where the president was in Homa Bay, and minutes later, Raila Odinga came to the same function, but of course, the president had to leave because the prime minister of Ethiopia had to was coming to Kenya, so he was playing host to him, so he had to leave the function. But if that wasn't happening, I'm almost certain would have had another mix. All right, another topic, another interesting meeting between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. But it's something that in those meetings that we will be looking at, that the president William Ruto said, equally what the governor for Homa Bay, one Gladys Wanga, was able to say and ask from William Ruto. He asked that one of our sons from the soil, Raila Odinga, is going for AU, all right, AUC, eh? African Union Commission, as the chair. We want you to support him. We'll be looking at all those clips and all those sentiments, and even the reaction from the crowd, even the reaction from some of the MPs. We'll be looking at that. We'll be trying to make sense of what that means and what that really could signify in as far as politics is concerned. In any case, nothing really happens in politics that just may happen because of mere coincidence. Some of these things are planned, designed, and well choreographed. It's possible that all these were in offing. I'll be playing you what one time, even before election, what Moses Kuria had said. I'll be playing you so many other things, so as you really get a picture. There are times really you don't really need to die because of these politicians, because at times at times some things they have pre-planned them. They know how to twist their cards. Okay, thank you very much. Lakini we niko tamu. Let's listen in even as we come back with Mr. G and many of you to make sense of what is happening. Let's listen in to Yvonne Okwara.
Turning out to be a shock union between President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga. Once political friends turned bitter rivals, they appear to have rediscovered their long-lost friendship in an unprecedented deal presided over by Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni. And as Seth Olale reports, the newfound Ruto-Raila alliance raises the question of whether another political shocker is cooking.
With Ruto and Raila's surprise meeting with Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni on Monday still dominating headlines, the pictures said more than any words could. The once political friends, turned bitter rivals in more than a decade, now appear to be rekindling their friendship, quite literally. Hours later, the head of state toured Raila's political bedrock in Homa Bay, where he presided over the second Homa Bay County International Investment Conference, a move seen as cementing and extending his cooperation with the Azimio leader. Even though the president did not directly mention or reveal details of his meeting with the opposition leader in Uganda, Ruto termed his newfound alliance with the opposition leader a win-win outcome for both the government and the opposition.
There is space for all of us in Kenya. You do not win by making others lose. We want a win-win outcome for all of us. We all want to be winners, because those in the opposition must mean well for Kenya. Those in government must mean well for Kenya.
The head of state stating that he is on a mission to fulfill his post-election pledge of uniting Kenyans through inclusivity, regardless of political affiliation.
There are no citizens who are in the opposition or Kenyans who are in the other side. It is only these leaders who have a job to do something in parliament. But all Kenyans are on the same side. We belong to one nation, and we have one goal: to make Kenya a great country that we can bequeath to our children who will come after us.
With what appears to be some well-calculated chess moves, President Ruto toured Raila's bedrock in Nyanza, whereas the Azimio leader Raila Odinga held a meeting with Gender Culture, the Arts and Heritage Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa at his Capitol Hill office in Nairobi to deliberate on a working formula to achieving the two-thirds gender principle.
Tunataka hiyo sheria ibadilishwe ili wamama wawe wanachaguliwa kwa ile mfumo inaitwa proportional representation, na wanakuwa sawa na wanaume katika bunge.
The shock union between President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga coming in the backdrop of Raila's declaration for the Africa Union Commission candidature, a move backed by ruling coalition Kenya Kwanza. And just this evening, Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed arrived in the country for a state visit. He was received by President William Ruto. Insiders opine that, apart from talks on collaboration between the two countries, Ruto is also expected to capitalize on occasion to push for Ethiopia's support of Azimio leader Raila Odinga's bid for the AU chairmanship.
There are many areas that we will agree on, but there will still be areas that we will disagree on. And that is the beauty of our democracy. That is the beauty of our political system.
With the once bitter rivals turn allies, seemingly unleashing an unprecedented handshake card. Will this newfound alliance signify yet another political shocker? Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
All right. So that is happening. And when the first handshake happened, it took us by surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you remember, we didn't anticipate it to happen. It kind of happened. Kidogo kidogo tunaona press briefing, kidogo kidogo tunaona salamu, kidogo kidogo tunaona handshake imekuwa, and then hapo hapo maisha ika change. Now here is another situation. The president William Ruto, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, they meet in Uganda. Okay, before after they meet, there is that rumor of Raila Odinga seeking to be an AUC chairperson. The other thing we see Mbasanjo, one time ameenda amemeet Raila Odinga, kidogo kidogo ndo hiyo ako na William Ruto. We see the former president Uhuru Kenyatta go to Museveni, go to one Yoweri Museveni, to one Mama Suluhu, and then now there's this one. Of course, kulikuwa na rumors that Uhuru was supporting Jakaya Kikwete, which it was yet to be verified. But now this is coming out. This is coming out. The Prime Minister for Ethiopia is around. All this signifying something interesting, signifying a change in as far as Raila's life is concerned, and as far as politics in Kenya is concerned. This move alone signifies a new alliance between William Ruto and one Raila Odinga. What does it even mean for Azimio? What does it even mean for ODM? Because this one is what we call the tsunami of all times. This is what will really seriously shake our politics in as far as we know it. Okay, now Mr. G, what do you make of such photos? What do you make of this? What came to your heart once you saw William Ruto and Raila Odinga, of course, with Museveni in his farmyard, with this beautiful and very honeyed are they bulls, I think, or cows? They have very long horns. What do you make of this picture alone, even before we go to the juice of all the matter?
You know, okay, first of all, I will greet our guys on the comment section. I see Mr. Goodia. How are you, guy? I'm sorry, I don't know if he's a guy or he's a nini, but I'll just greet him. I don't know if he's a man or he's a guy. Yeah. Okay. On
That
this thing
is equally very interesting. But let's go on.
Yeah. Okay. Now on this issue, you know, I did not anticipate to see such a picture, because when you look at those pictures, you see that these people they are just friends. You know, for me, when I looked at them some months ago, how they used to interact, ile majibishano, ile makasiriko, you know, and then when you look at this picture, you see that there's something different, because ile makasiriko na hii picture inaonyesha kwa these people they're friends. These are people that look at them, they are just easy with each other. Hakuna ile, you know, when you are closer to somebody ambaye is your enemy, ama is somebody that you mpendani, kwa kuna that tension, and the body language also will show that there's a tension. But when you look at these pictures, you see there's no tension. These are the people who are relaxed, and people ambao unaona ni kama president ako closer to him, he's listening, he's attentive, anamsikiza vile anaongea, and the people ambao they are interacting, their friends interacting deeper things. Okay, even though we expected, when the president said that he will campaign for Baba on that chairmanship of AU, but I did not expect such things, such pictures like this one that I saw from Uganda, because you know, in Uganda, in fact, you remember his Museveni, the first time Museveni who sent us to court on this issue of petrol, and hatujaipelekwa kotini hata siku moja with any other country, but you see Museveni alitupeleka. Kumekuwa na some disconnect between our government and the government of Uganda, and now seeing such picture, to me it was like a shock. Yeah, I was shocked. I was not expecting. But anyway,
wacha nikukumbushe tu, maybe umesahau, kuna hii time Somalia walitupeleka ICC kwa sababu ya mpaka ile hapo tu home kwenyu kuko na ile mpaka huwa tunabichania ya maji,
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, Somalia wametupeleka ICC, lakini Uganda ndo wamekuwa the latest ones kutupeleka kotini.
But that is a border, you know. the issue with land and borders, hiyo ni kitu kingine ambako critical sana. But now look at this thing ambao nani alitupeleka, hii issue ambao Uganda alitupeleka is because of how we deal with with their business. Ni kama tulikuwa tuna affect, ni kama tulikuwa tunafanya vitu ambao hawakupenda wakatupeleka. On the issue of Somalia, it was both.
All right, Mr. G Nasim amekwama, but equally you can join us kwa studio. To join us in the studio is not difficult. Link nimekutumia hapo kwa comment section. Link
Because of land, but we cannot compare.
Yeah.
Sorry. Nasikika. I think my network ilikuwa na shida.
Ulikuwa umekwama kidogo, lakini sasa tunakusikia.
Okay, sorry. I think my network, siku hizi sijui network ina shida gani. Okay, what I was trying to say ni kuwa even though walitupeleka Somalia walitupeleka, but we cannot compare it with this one kwa sababu ya Somalia is a different issue about land, and you know how lands na behave, those cases of land. Hata hiyo ni area ambao unapata mandugu wanauana kwa sababu ya shamba, this border sio. Okay, on this issue I did not expect it to happen this way because inaonyesha kuwa these people, they are closer friends. Yeah, there are people ambao some of us ambao tumeweka siasa kwa roho. Ujue Mandago one day alituambia kwa tusiweke siasa kwa lungs, and it's true because some of us ambao tulikuwa more criticizing this government, tukiona picha kama hizi unashtuka sasa, unashindwa utaambia nini watu sasa. Kwa sasa hii inakuwa ni kama imekupiga blow. There's nothing again you can say, but we expected kwa sababu wakati walisema kwa ata support baba, obvious baba ilikuwa lazima atakutana nao. Now so the problem now, and the question that we are asking now, ile issue zetu zitakuaje sasa asazimio? Kwa sababu sisi tulikuwa, you remember that stress scenario pale, tulikuwa siku moja kulikuwa na kitu inaitwa sijui ati a day to the destiny, unaikumbuka hiyo? Tulikuwa na day to the destiny, tukawa tunasema
ilikuwa March 20, ilikuwa 20th there about.
Yeah, we had a March, we had a day to destiny, and our guys died, you see. Tukawa pia na another scenario pia ikatokea, and still our people died, na still tukawa pia with those other scenarios ambazo kwa zinatokea pale, tulikuwa tunauita huyu mtu mwizi. And sasa hiyo ukiwaona hivi sasa inakuwa ngumu, utaanza kumuita vipi mwizi, utaanza kumuita vipi mkora tena, you see. So now it is a bit challenging, but I know we'll get through it. Yeah.
Now when it happened between Uhuru and Raila, William Ruto was a casualty. Already today, social media is awash with how they have ridiculed Gachagua. We'll go back to what we have been discussing, but let's come back to that part. When the handshake happened, William Ruto was kind of isolated, or he isolated, depending on how you want to argue it. But now he is a situation where he is now the president. He suffered the wrath of the handshake. Here is a situation now, the man that was on the other side of the hand, one was Uhuru, the other hand was for Raila Odinga. Here is now a man who is almost asking him to help him get the AUC chairperson. Maybe there we could have some working conditions together, because eventually there are offices that will come with that office of Raila Odinga. Do you see a situation where we could see some Ruto's guys working in some offices based on what Raila Odinga will get? Are we able to see again some people from Azimio coming to government? What do you anticipate? And equally, when we talk about Gachagua, what do you perceive might be the thing that might happen to him?
Okay, what I know, on the issue of handshake between Uhuru and Baba, it was just a created, and it is a created scenario whereby Ruto, by the time he was deputy president, he just created that scenario kuwa hatakikani. President told us, who is Uhuru, told us that before meeting Raila, he went to the office of the deputy president. He talked to him, explained to him that a time has come, I have to meet this guy, who is Raila. But huyu jamani kama alikuwa hataki. Yeah, Ruto ni kama alikuwa hataki. So he just created, he's a cunning man. This is a guy ambaye, he always play a victim card. Anataka kuonekana kuwa is a victim. That is always the perfect play ambayo anapenda kuplay. So he always plays as a victim. by that time hiyo nini ilitokezea, hiyo handshake ilitokezea, he played as a victim whereby alikuwa anajionyesha kuwa hatakikani na akajitoa. Is not that Uhuru alimtoa, alijitoa mwenyewe kwa hiyo scenario, na akawa anajaribu kuleta picha zingine ngumu, picha zingine mbovu, aonekane kuwa alikuwa anakuwa frustrated, and yet he was not being frustrated. This is a guy ambaye alikuwa anapinga serikali, ambaye he is the deputy president of that serikali. He was the deputy president of Uhuru Kenyatta, lakini akitoka nje anaongea matope kwa hiyo government, and the same way anaenda analala kwa nyumba ya serikali, the same way anaenda magari zake zinajazwa mafuta petrol with the same government ambayo alikuwa na castigate. So you cannot believe this guy. Okay, on this now the situation that has happened, you remember it is Gachagua who went out, hata kwa mambiwa na mtu akaanza kusema nimeweka mitego State House yote, kona zote nimeweka mitego. Hataki kuona mtu yote akionekana tu karibu na Raila, yani Raila akionekana tu karibu na president ataambiwa mara moja na atakuja mtoe. So I don't know how it will play out, but what I know is that it was like a game. Yani it was like, unajua kuna ile hyper, is not a game. Kuna ile wakati ambao unajua ukishapata kitu unaanza kujisikia sasa uko bora. Sasa unajifanya wewe ndio boss, sasa wewe unajua kila kitu, and yet kumbe haujui anything. So he was just speaking out of the reality that was coming to happen. You see, this is a guy ambaye anaongea tu akifikia ana please watu, but he never knew that these guys they can work. You know what I have come to learn politics and kuwa, you need not to have enemies in politics. Like sisi watu wa chini, we should not be enemies. Where at any time somebody has a different opinion, inafaa tumuelewe, because these guys ambao they are politicians pale juu, they are just friends. I never knew that Raila na Ruto anaweza anza kutembea wakipiga story when walikuwa wanatembea on those pictures, wakipiga picha kila mtu ameshika rungi yake, wamekaa yani there are people ambao hawana shida yote. I remember these are the people ambao wanatukanana wakitana siji waizi waganga. Alafu another thing I wanted to tell you Mr. Jex on this issue again, in another way expose Ruto, kwa sababu do you remember way back before election there's a time ambayo alikuwa akimbia kwa gari akiwa anaambia watu kuwa baba ambaye ndio nini wetu, ndio kiongozi wetu, hana hata any credential. He doesn't have any credential. Hana mtu yoyote ambaye anaweza muonyesha kuwa wamesoma naye. Now a question comes. This is an AU chairman. This is an AU chairman whereby you have qualification, and qualification you must have a master degree. Alafu anajitokeza yeye ambaye ni Ruto, ndo anajitokeza anasema he's now supporting baba because baba qualifies that seat. Sasa sunaona the double speak. He's the one ambaye pale alikuwa na castigate baba akisema hata baba hana credential, baba hana mtoto amesoma naye. Sasa sahi he's supporting baba kwa post ambao inahitaji a master degree, and he knows that baba has it. Sasa huyu mtu alikuwa ni muongo. I see my friend, although huwa hatupatani sana kwa siasa, but I think today tutapatana.
But unaona siasa vile ni interesting. One moment mko mnapigana. Today you have been unified. And it is interesting because we are the ones who really argue. But these guys somehow they eventually meet. Now, allow me to say hi to guys equally on the comment section. I see Kemani Akondani, asante sana Kim. I see you. Thank you very much. I see Danny D. Asante sana. You are equally saying that we have 51 CSS position. 25 will go to Ruto, 25 for Raila. Yeah, that will be interesting to see. Good day na karibisha Kenya Rebel na Kimani. Karibu sana comment section. Karibuni sana. Pia wewe ambao unataka kujiunga nasi kupitia comment section, tumekutumia link inakutuma moja kwa moja hadi hapa kwa studio. Unafanya nini ukifika studio? Hakikisha umeandika jina, Asha Mike, andika jina yes, Asha Mike, Asha Camera, click enter, itakuleta moja kwa moja hadi hapa. Asante sana. Okay? Watu wa Azimio, I'm sure they are really finding it difficult. Equally watu wa Kenya Kwanza, because what does it all mean? What does this all mean? What does this all mean? Because Mount Kenya wako hapo, wako kwa fix. Gachagua ndo yako hapo kwa fix, all right? All this, what does it even mean politically speaking? We have seen the speaker coming out to support Raila Odinga. We have seen some MPs from Kenya Kwanza coming out to support Raila Odinga. So I'll be playing all that, but equally we're asking ourselves really, what does this move by Raila Odinga mean to you as Mkenya? Wewe ambaye umekuwa a diehard supporter of Raila Odinga. Okay, I'll equally be playing some Luo politics kidogo too after this, but let's continue from where we are. Kenyan News Kenya News Link ndio channel, lakini tuko naye jamaa anajiita Kenya Revolutionary. Vipi kakaangu, karibu sana kwa hii channel. I'm sure hujai kuwa hapa, but karibu sana hii mtaa.
Shukran Jex, it's nice seeing you na Mr. G. Mnanisikia vizuri?
Kabisa.
Okay. Anyway, Jex, mi nilikuwa nakujanga hapa hivi, hatukuwa nakutana kwa ile channel zingine, na nilikuwa namwambia ndugu yangu hapa Mr. G na Alex, naambia wana huyu jamaa wana huyu mzee ashakutana na Ruto rais. Alikuwa ananicharaza hapo hata kidogo aniue. Sasa ndio hiyo handshake hiyo mnaiona. So anyway, hii mambo ya kusema ati sijui Gachagua, that is to divert the attention of what is happening. So unaona ndugu yangu amekimbia.
No, ameenda backstage.
Okay.
Endelea.
Nasema hii mambo ya kusema sijui Gachagua is the casualty of what's going on. That is just to divert the attention of what's going on. It's the Azimio staunch supporters wanajaribu ku save face ati, you know, sasa utasikia wakisema ati Ruto kufanya kazi na Raila sio kitu kibaya, after all it's a good thing, it's good for the country. They started this nonsense utasema ati Gachagua actually was the bad guy, sijui nini. But in reality ni kuwa Raila, you know, he has been captured by Ruto. And wacha tungoje tuone kama atapata hiyo tikiti ya AU, maana makaratasi yake hatujui kama ni karatasi legit ama ni nini, because this might be a setup here by Ruto, because you know anaweza kupatia hiyo kitu amsupport, lakini makaratasi kama hana, basi itabidi arudi Kenya na endelee na mambo yake ya ODM na sijui mambo mengine. So we never know. Let's see. But what I can say is I just want to tell my Azimio friends, remember we told you zile maandamano mko mnaenda sijui mnavunja vitu hapo, mnataka sijui nini ati Ruto must go. Where are you now? Umewachwa kwa mataa vile tu nani vitu vile tu nani alikuwa anasema.
Ngoja sana.
Ngoja kidogo. Siwachokozi nasema hivi. Vile nani alikuwa anasema huyu nani Moses Kuria. Huyo mzee anakuanga opposition, lakini zile opposition ni ile opposition ya joto. Ile iko na joto. So anasimama hivi lakini amejua atapata kitu kidogo. So anyway, all I can say in summation, I told you, that's why you need to come and to also support this channel. Like Kenya Link channel, Pia Kenya Revolutionary. I have most for you, Pia. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Nakuja kwako na maswali kadhaa, lakini umetaja Moses Kuria, na hivi ndivyo Moses Kuria alisema days before elections. Sikiza hapa.
Is my prediction, so you cannot take me to
court. Nabii, okay.
Huwezi kunipeleka kotini. Raila Odinga and William Ruto will work together
after the election.
Na kuna watu wataachwa kwa mata. And you know Baba hii kitu mnaita, yes, he's in opposition throughout his life, but look at, he's always where in the warm corner of the opposition. Sio ile iko na baridi. Sio ile iko na baridi. Government are all where it's happening.
So you're predicting that Raila Odinga will work with William Ruto?
Yes. He has his hand at the pulse of the nation. So he knows that William Ruto has got unassailable lead. So the logical thing for Baba will say, create for me some space. Nimaliza hii maisha yangu hapa uzee wangu. Kusaidia tu kama rafiki yako tulifanya kazi.
Mpya inawezekana. Inawezekana. Leo ni leo.
Na inawezekana.
Inawezekana. Leo ni leo.
Pia mpya inawezekana.
Inawezekana. Leo ni leo.
Nchi ambayo kuna raha na ustawi.
Now, when you think about it, Kenya Rebel, this is how it all began in 2017. Kidogo tu. And voila, Raila was close to Uhuru Kenyatta more than the voters who voted for him. There was that joke. I don't know if you guys remember that you guys stole our election, but we stole your president. Now, let me begin with Mr. G. Are we reliving that moment where we stole the elections, but now we have stolen the president?
No, Jex, I didn't want to comment on that issue.
No,
Yeah,
please do.
at the moment, the scenario at the moment
Yeah.
is issue about the AU. Yeah, the issue is just issue about AU chairmanship, and with this seat, you have to be supported by the sitting president of the same country that you are in.
Yes.
Now, in our current situation, he has to be supported by Ruto. You see, Ruto being the president, he's the we have some Azimio people like me, not like me, because for me, I know he's the president. We have some other guys who are Azimio, but they always say that we don't have a president. Ruto is not the president, which is just a fallacy. You cannot say that you don't have a president and yet we have a president. Hata kama alitumia another means akapata that president, he's the president of Kenya. Wherever place he goes in other countries where he sits, Raila will not sit there because he's the president of the country. So in this situation, he has to be supported by the president, ambao is Ruto. You see, sasa I didn't want to comment on that situation kwa sababu ya this issue of AU, and I told you that at the moment we are in a fix kwa sababu with this issue, this is a guy ambaye tulikuwa tunamuita mtu muongo. You see, this is a guy ambaye tunamuita mwizi. Ruto is a person ambaye tunamuita Arp Mashamba, mtu mwizi, but now we are crying to him atusaidie kupata vote. You see how the thing is tricky. The guy ambaye tunasema ni mwizi, sasa tunamlilia, tunamwambia. And remember, he's the same guy about to even to debate. You remember the time we called him before election? Tunasema unafaa wawe na debate between him and Raila. Raila akasema hizi debate na mtu mwizi. And now he's the same person ambaye anasema aende amsaidie ku campaign. You see how this thing is fixing us. And tunajipata kwa area ambayo hata tunashindwa kuongea nini tena. You see. So I didn't want to comment on that thing, but I think wacha kwanza kidogo. Yeah.
Mr. G,
I really feel you. I feel you, my brother. I really do. Yes.
I think you should send an apology letter to Jalas na wale watu walienda kukutana na Raila, wale watu wa ODM walienda kukutana na Raila before Raila. Mnafaa mwende mkawaambie pole.
No, we cannot send an apology. Those are hypocrites. Those are hypocrites. There's a difference between a hypocrite, somebody like the washman. Huyo mtu anatembea kama bata. That is a hypocrite. Mtu ambaye amekusaidia mpaka umepata votes, alafu unakuja unamwaibisha. We cannot apologize for that. Maybe ungesema no, there's nothing but
all right, guys, let's come back to the conversation. Let's come back to the conversation. But we are having a great time here at Kenya Newsleak. Consider subscribing to this fantastic channel. Tuko nazo vitu burudani fiti hapo kwa hiyo channel. Kindly subscribe and let us grow together. We are barely new and we are doing great things despite our young age. But thank you so much for the love, for the support that we have received immensely from all of you. You guys are just but amazing. Hapa ndipo mnapata vitu kali, vitu fiti, show na mambo funny kama haya. Karibu sana. Okay, now let's come back to this. Kenya Rebel, at one time, Raila Odinga was seriously avoiding William Ruto. The first time we saw them together ilikuwa kwa mazishi ya the wife to Denat Kimathi. And then that day waka misuse, they kinda waka overdo. Tukawaona kwa mazishi, wakaenda ball pamoja, wakavaa t-shirts zinafanana, kidogo ndo wanapeana mazawadi, wanacheka na high five kidogo tu. Tena jana ndio hiyo picture na leo ndio hiyo wamezidisha. So what do you make of a relationship that would begin between them and between Ruto and Rao? Will it be even more stronger than ile ilikuwa between Rao and Uhuru?
No, I always say this and people don't agree with me. Ruto, Raila, Uhuru, they're all friends. They just play to the public gallery. of course they have to maintain hii kisiasa, wanaweka temperatures juu kidogo ndio, you know, so we can think that there's opposition and there's the government, the ruling party. But ama jamaa, they're the same. They're in the same political class. They hang out. Their children play together. They go to the same parties back days. That's why hata ukikumbuka hiyo mazishi, you heard what Ruto said when he was on the podium. Akasema mzee nimejua kitu anataka. You know, I know what he wants, you know. Na Gachagua akakuja akatuambia, you know, huyo mzee tumemweka kwa kona. Because we know what he wants. So, but all in all, like I said, we need a third alliance movement. There's no change. It is more apparent now. For those, I'm glad actually. I don't know how G feels, but I've been telling you for a while. Raila hatatupeleka Canaan is not the answer. Ndio mnafikiria atawapeleka Canaan. Hata me, there's a time when I thought he was the person. But after 2017, I'm convinced. So Kenyans, we need to start a third alliance where it is a people's movement, a grassroots revolutionary movement. That is what will actually liberate us, not these clowns at the top.
Okay. Now, Mr. G, how would you describe the relationship between Ruto and Raila? Because you remember in 2007, if there is a man who went out of his way to really defend the win or the loss of Raila Odinga, then was William Ruto. In any case, he went out of his way to the level that he alijikuta ICC, okay? Or rather, he really did a lot, okay? And at times he brags and he prides himself that he's the one who made him a prime minister. But when you think about it, that if that alliance was to come back, what would it even mean?
Okay, you know, Mr. Jakes, first of all, these are friends. These are people that have worked together. They know, these are the people that they have worked together and they know each other very well. Kumbuka, the only thing that brought in this fracas between Ruto and Raila, it was about the chama. You know, when Dani came to ODM, when Ruto came to ODM, that is when he started to plan this issue of co-president. And I think I talked about it some days ago on this issue whereby I say that Ruto alianza kujipanga 07 kule 06 akijipanga kuwa president, akaanza kuleta kina Chebukati inside ODM. But Baba was not really careful to know the plan that was coming to happen. He didn't know why Chebukati was being brought to his chama. Yeye alifikiria tu ni mtu ameletwa kwa mazuri. But this guy had a plan. And he planned way back since 2006. 0607, yeah. So what I'm trying to say, Nukua, the relationship can be strong because the only thing that brought the Farakas wakakosana, it is that when they were together in ODM, Nani alikuwa ameanza kupanga, he was almost taking over the ODM from Baba Ruto. Kulikuwa na those allegation kuwa he was taking the ODM from Baba. Now that is what brought this hizo macracks mpaka wakaanza kukosana. There's no other thing. Ilikuwa tu ni hiyo mambo ambao walikuwa nasema kuwa he was planning to take over the ODM na kukaanzia hapo ndo shida ikaanza kutokezea. But what I'm saying kuwa this guy, in case they unite, it can be more stronger than how it used to be with the Ruto, because ni watu ambao wamekaa pamoja, ni watu wamefanya kazi pamoja, wanaelewana vizuri sana. Hata Venerable amesema, unakumbuka akiwa kwa matanga pale, he said that I know Baba very well. I know him very well. Jamjua sana, alitumia word kwa mimi najua Baba vizuri sana yo. So these are guys that they know each other. Na in case waseme kwa wana put their differences aside to work together, they'll still be friends. You see, because they know each other very well. Na wanajua nini. Like sasa another thing that I wanted to talk about ni issue ya the politics. I think nowadays I have to understand, and I'm coming to that realization that politics is all about interest. It's not all about the common mwananchi vile watu kwa nafikiria. It is about the interest. Kwa sababu what is being played right now ni kwa sababu ya mimi kitu fulani ambao nataka nitakuja kwako. Nitadanganya wananchi kuwa tunangangana, nitadanganya wananchi kuwa sisi tupatani, sisi si marafiki, but at the moment there's something that I want, I'll just come back to you uweze kunisaidia. Na unaacha wananchi wakiwa wanaumia wakiwa wamekasiana ama wamekosana. So this issue of interest ndio inatuleta sasa chini. I think we need to have best leaders, those people who can really feel what mwananchi wa chini anapitia, so that they can fight for the really mwananchi wa chini. They should not just go because of their own interest. Kwa sababu mimi nataka kitu fulani, so I want to talk to, okay, naona nini Rebel ameinua mkono. Bado nilikuwa sijamaza kitu ngoja kusema. Yes, Rebel.
Oh, maliza tu, nilikuwa nataka kusema tu hivi.
Maliza tu ndampea.
Maliza.
Yeah, what I was trying to say ni kuwa I think we need to find leaders. Yeah, we need to find leaders who can fight really for mwananchi wa chini. This mambo ya dishonesty ambayo inaonekana kwa you know, it has come to be normal. A politician should be just dishonest. He should not be honest. Hiyo ndio kitu ambayo imeanza kujitokeza siku hizi. And it's not only in Kenya but many other countries. Tumepata kuwa for somebody to be a politician he has to be a person that is not honest. Ndio anaweza pewa, na paka imeingia paka kwa watu wa chini, watu ambao ni wapigaji kura, wanaangalia ule mtu ambaye anaonekana kuwa ana nini, ana ile inaitwa ngaje, the bold. I think which word can I use best than bold? Kuna ile ambao mtu anaweza simama akatusi mtu anaweza simama akafanya kitu fulani. Kuna a better word in English kushinda hiyo bold. Yeah, hiyo ujasiri hiyo. So they look at ujasiri and they take it and they interrupt how do you, they what? And when I exchange to competence, kwa sababu mtu ako mjasiri, wanamwona sasa huyu mtu ni incompetent, anafaa kwa hiyo cheo. So they are just misled by what happens, kwa sababu mtu anaweza simama, anaweza tusi mtu, anaweza simama akatusi Raila, anaweza simama akatusi Ruto, anaweza simama akadanganya, so wanaona kwa huyu mtu ndiye anafaa, and that's why wanachagua watu kama hao. But I think nilikuwa nasema dishonesty inafaa itoke kwa politicians. We need to find people ambao watakuwa honest, yeah, with the people. Watakuwa honest na vitu ambao wanasema. If they are coming to change something in the nation, they are honest as politicians to stand on the ground na fight for what they believe in. Hii mambo ya interest inafaa itoke kwa sababu ni mislead.
Now, when Mr. Jiven, as you come in because you had raised your hand, there is this other element that we need to look at. During the campaigns, one of the things that they were really saying they are fighting is the politic of deceit. You know, siasas are deceit, where during the campaigns someone anajifanya haezielewana na fulani kidogo kidogo, once the elections are over, a whole new arrangements happen, because one of the reasons NASA died is because they felt walikuwa shortchanged after the handshake. What do you make of this now? Is this still the same thing all over again? Because now someone is about to benefit. What happens to the likes of Jeremiah Kioni, the likes of Kalonzo Musyoka, the likes of Martha Karua? What happens to all these guys? As much as they are supporting Raila Odinga to go for the chairmanship, what happens to Azimio? What happens to Kenya Kwanza, who said they are now taking Raila Odinga to Bondo? All right, that's what they were. That was the clarion call. What happens now, in as far as you are looking at all this, because there will be some shifting taking place.
Yes, Jakes, you have to remember that hiyo deal haikuisha tu na AU, Raila kupata AU. Number one, Raila hasn't gotten the AU yet, but if he gets it, and I think he'll get it, even though I think ana makaratasi, but that's another story for another day. The deal also was to bring some of these Azimio people. Kumbuka, they're still working on that NADCO stuff. I don't know if you are talking about it in the parliament today or this week sometime. They want to implement this NADCO, which is already not legal, okay? Ndio maana uliona kwa headline, I think it was Standard or one of the rags that was saying that, yes, hawa wakina Wandai na sijui nini, they shall be accommodated in the next government. Because remember, they want to change the constitution so hawa watu wapate cheo, okay, to accommodate everyone. Ulisikia nani Ruto akisema leo huko sijui Homa Bay akisema ati everyone should be a win-win situation. Win-win for who? Only hawa wanasiasa ndio wana win. Azimio na Kenya Kwanza. Not win for ninio, for the common mwananchi. That's why I'm saying this to Nani, even though we are ndugu yangu G and the Azimio folks are now upset. I think this is a golden opportunity. I want to say this. It is a golden opportunity for Kenyans, okay, to start a grassroots revolutionary movement that will remove all these politicians. Saizi kila mtu ameona sasa our politician, they care vile G amesema, they care about their own selfish interest yao wenyewe. Ukiangalia Iala ni watoto wao and their relatives who are in that ninio. Sisi wananchi tumewachwa kwa mataa vile Moses Kuria ametuambia. So my friends from Azimio and those who are in Kenya Kwanza ambao pia wamekasirika, it is time, whether you're in Central Province, Rift Valley, Nyanza, tuanze chama chetu cha wananchi ambao our interest as wananchi is being advanced. Not hawa watu nakutana mahali huko sijui Mombasa huko na Mombasa ndio wanasema ati yewe tutakupatia hiki kitu tutakupatia. It is that time. This is an opportunity for us. Ndio maana mimi nimefurahia sasa watu wameona Raila is about himself, is not a revolutionary person. Sasa hizi hata kama mmependa, it is what it is. Ruto tumejua is his own selfish. But anyway, that's all I want to say.
Now, Mr. G, when you look at this, one moment when William Ruto played victim, he almost made us believe that Raila Odinga is a very bad person. These were his words. Huyu mtu anajulikana kwa kuharibu. Aliingia sijui wapi akaharibu. Ataingia serikali ya fulani ataharibu. Ameingia Jubilee ataharibu. That was his messaging then. What happens now? Because if that is anything to go with what he said then, do we anticipate kama what he said is true, this will cause a serious damage both either in Azimio or in Kenya Kwanza, but either way kutakuwa na kakitu kataharibika? Do you believe such notions?
No, Jex, Ruto has never been truthful. He has never been truthful. He's a cunning man. And you say that he almost, don't use that word almost. It was not about almost. He made a number of people, a large number of people to believe. Yeah, he made, in fact, look at Central Kenya. Those people, in fact, they believe that Baba is the person ambaye hafai. You look at, do you listen to what nini alikuwa anasema Gachagua alikuwa anasema? Gachagua alikuwa anasema kuwa alikuja kwa government akachukua pesa yote ambayo ilikuwa Central, ilikuwa inafanya miradi za Central ikapelekwa Nyanza. You remember those statements ambazo zilikuwa zinafanywa? So the guy ambaye ni Ruto, he choreographed that word ya propaganda na kaitumia vizuri mpaka Baba akaonekana kuwa he's the person ambaye ameleta shida yote. And sometimes Baba sijui kwa nini kwa haoni hizi vitu. Baba was not in that government. Baba was just a friend in that government. It's not that he was being paid. The government was for Ruto and Uhuru. Yeah. Uhuru was the president, Ruto was the deputy president. Baba was just a friend. But now they painted him as a person ambaye alikuwa sasa in that government, is as if he was getting money, he was just being paid, and yet he was not being paid. He was just a friend. What I'm trying to say ni kuwa Ruto managed, it was not almost, but he managed to lie to a larger group of people to believe that Baba was the wrong person, and yet Baba was not the wrong person. But I was saying that kwa nini Baba huwa hataki kusoma, kwa sababu you see what happened wakati alisema hivyo, laana yote ilikuja asi laana, makosa yote ambayo ilikuwa ya Jubilee government iliwekwa kwa mgongo ya Baba. You see. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to use that. I pronounce a word ambao sikutaka kutumia, si laana, ilikuwa ni that bad image.
Makosa na dhambi zote za Jubilee.
Yeah, dhambi zote za Jubilee zilibebwa zote zilikuwa kwa mgongo ya Baba. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu Baba alikuja kwa handshake na Ruto na Uhuru. You see, sasa watu wakasema kuwa Baba ndiye ameleta hii makisani yote. That's why unapata hata wakati hao wamechukua, wakati Uhuru na wakati Ruto na Gachagua wamechukua government, ni Gachagua ametoka akasema mimi nimeweka mitego zangu kwa kila kona. Sitaki kuona mtu yote akisongea, sitaki kuona Raila akisongea karibu, kwa sababu Raila ameharibu government sijia nani, ameenda karibu government ya nani, amekuja karibu government ya Uhuru. Sasa hataki akuje aingie kwa hii government pia haribu na maharibu hizo government zingine. Those are words ambao Gachagua kwa anatumia, and yet just propaganda. Even though Gachagua ni mtu ambaye hajielewi, hata hajui anaongea nini. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Ni ile tu mdomo mingi. He's a person who is a loose mouth, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. Baba has never been such a person ambao Gachagua kwa anaongea.
Now, at one point, we had these people saying, as you rightfully said, they cannot sit and even debate with William Ruto. The biggest question is, what has changed?
there's, this is just issue of interest. Nothing has changed. This is the guy ambayo tulikuwa tunasema tunaenda kumtoa State House. You remember when we say that we have a day to the destiny, tunaenda kumtoa State House, tunapanda magari, tunaitisha maandamano ya kwenda kumtoa State House. There's nothing that has changed. The guy killed our people using live bullets. Akatuma mapolisi akatuambia tunaenda kulearn a lesson. That is what he used, that we are going to learn a lesson. And he has not changed anything. If we go to economy, he has nothing. He has done nothing on the economy. In fact, ameharibu economy kabisa ya Kenya. Juzi wamemanipulate hiyo dola ikashuka chini, but still haijaleta any comfort to our people, to our lives. But the guy, he has destroyed the economy of our country. On the issue of hii event ambayo ilikuwa juzi, event ya Naivasha, amebeba the whole team with a large amount of money ambayo ametumia kwa hiyo kitu kuwapeleka Naivasha. Anaenda kuketi, sijui anaongea kuhusu, walikuwa wanaongea kuhusu nini, ilikuwa sijui ni issue ya nini ambayo wamejazana Naivasha wote, the whole team ma CS sijui nini, wote wameenda wamejazana kwa hoteli, millions of money. And yet you have students, you have children ambao hawajaenda shuleni mpaka leo, hawajaripoti shuleni kwa sababu hakuna pesa, kwa sababu hakuna karo ya shule, and they're wasting a lot of money.
That issue, misuse and spending of this government. But when you look at William Ruto and Raila Odinga, one moment when Raila Odinga refused to attend the debate, one of the reasons he said that William Ruto is a thief and he cannot stand him. The other thing that he said was that he stand on a podium of him being clean, or rather him being the chaste one, and William Ruto being the one who has so many issues. And those were the things that were carried on throughout the campaign. And even after that, those are the things that were being brought out. Because of the desire of him being a chairman, do you see any day soon that we'll see Raila Odinga maybe bring out an expose, like how the last one that he did was that for Chebukati? Do you see him now bring out issues against this government, like how he spoke about G2G, how he spoke about many things, including the housing levy that he was very vocal against? So now that there's this cabromance coming, what happens to our politics? What happens to the man, Raila Odinga?
Jax, why we are disappointed is because of the issue you're talking about. This is a guy ambao tulisema ananuka dambi. Those are the words that we used. Ananuka dambi, amejaa na damu, mkono wake imejaa na damu. Right. Those are the words that were being used for him. Yeah. Now, sasa hivi we are dining with him. Yeah, sasa hivi we are dining with him. Tunatembea pamoja naye tukipiga story, tukimulilia atukampenie tuweze kupata hizi vitu. So what I'm trying to say ni kuwa that expose that he used to expose, it will not happen. That's why we are discouraged. Unaona, we are discouraged because now imefika wakati ambao he has now to be a good person to this president. Ndio president endelea kumkampenia kule. He has to be a good person. You cannot campaign for me wakati na kupiga marungu huku nyumbani. No, you'll not. So I have to be good to you so that you can sell me outside the country. Sasa sasa tumebaki mahali ambapo we are really disappointed because now we are going to trust a man ambaye tulikuwa tunasema amejaa na damu kwa mkono, mtu ambaye alikuwa ananuka dambi. Sasa we are going to respect that guy, you see. Yani inakuwa ni a challenge. That's why I said we are now in a fixed. Kwa sababu tutaona hizo expose hazitakuwa. Expose zitakuwa tu wakati ambao maybe ameenda amekosa hiyo kiti. You see. Kwa sababu kumbuka akikosa hiyo kiti atatusiwa. We are in a very big mess. We are mix, not mess, is a mix. Kwa sababu akipata tutaambiwa kwa ni huyu amempatia, tutaambiwa kwa ni Uhuru, ni Ruto amempatia hiyo kiti. Kwa sababu anapenda kujipiga kifua kwa sana. You remember wakati wa Uhuru. He told us that yeye alimpatia kiti. Although it's true, yeye alifanya mpaka Uhuru akapata kiti. Akatuambia pia yeye alifanya mpaka baba akapata the prime minister seat. Although we saw he fight wakati alikuwa na baba, he really fought hiyo time. Akafought, akapigana sana, akakaa karibu siku 2 siku 3 hajaoga. So now this is the scenario whereby aliketi karibu siku 2 alikuwa hajaoga akipigania baba.
Alikuwa always in Bomas,
he was in Bomas fighting. Alafu sasa sahi it's a scenario whereby Baba akishinda atajipiga kifua, mimi ndio nimempatia. Baba akianguka atatupiga marungu akituambia tumelaaniwa, hatuwezi pata kiti yoyote. You see, and we are really in a very big fix. Ambao sijui tutafanyaje, but anyway, wacha Mungu mwenyewe ataamua. But the expose side haitafanyika. Because he cannot expose this government right sahi akitaka asaidiwe na the same government, you see. Itakuwa ngumu sana expose this government, yeah.
So we are doomed already, because if this government is anything to go by, there's a lot happening that if no one talks about them, Basi will be suffering in silence, because there's a lot, include from sugar scandals, from KMSA scandals to G2G scandals, any scandals ziko hapa mpaka unafika Djibouti. There's this issue ya excessive borrowing, misuse of public funds. Msichana buy curtains ya 10 million. We'll be talking about that just now. But ladies and gentlemen, maybe you're asking us, what are we talking about? Let's listen into this footage I'm replaying again, and then we will continue with the discussion here in studio. But to join us in studio, kupitia link ambao umetumiwa hapo kwa comment section na Kenya News link, na pia kwa Mtembei TV, hakikisha hizo ndio link unaingia nazo kwa show. Ukiguza tu hivi inakupeleka place inaitwa StreamYard. Ukiingia StreamYard, itaji of course upload, utaasha mic, utawasha camera, andika jina, alafu unajikuta uko moja kwa moja kwa hii show. But let's listen into this even as we come back with this great conversation.
With what is turning out to be a shock union between President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga. Once political friends turned bitter rivals, they appear to have rediscovered their long-lost friendship in an unprecedented deal presided over by Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni. And as Seth Olale reports, the newfound Ruto-Raila alliance raises the question of whether another political shocker is cooking.
With Ruto and Raila's surprise meeting with Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni on Monday still dominating headlines, the pictures said more than any words could. The once political friends turned bitter rivals in more than a decade now appear to be rekindling their friendship, quite literally. Hours later, the head of state toured Raila's political bedrock in Homa Bay, where he presided over the second Homa Bay County International Investment Conference, a move seen as cementing and extending his cooperation with the Azimio leader. Even though the president did not directly mention or reveal details of his meeting with the opposition leader in Uganda, Ruto termed his newfound alliance with the opposition leader a win-win outcome for both the government and the opposition.
There is space for all of us in Kenya. You do not win by making others lose. We want a win-win outcome for all of us. We all want to be winners, because those in the opposition must mean well for Kenya. Those in government must mean well for Kenya.
The head of state stating that he is on a mission to fulfill his post-election pledge of uniting Kenyans through inclusivity, regardless of political affiliation.
There are no citizens who are in the opposition or Kenyans who are in the other side. It is only these leaders who have a job to do something in parliament. But all Kenyans are on the same side. We belong to one nation, and we have one goal: to make Kenya a great country that we can bequeath to our children who will come after us.
With what appears to be some well-calculated chess moves, President Ruto toured Raila's bedrock in Nyanza, whereas the Azimio leader Raila Odinga held a meeting with Gender Culture, the Arts and Heritage Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa at his Capitol Hill office in Nairobi to deliberate on a working formula to achieving the 2/3 gender principle.
Nataka hiyo sheria ibadilishwe ili wamama wawe wanachaguliwa kwa ile mfumo inaitwa proportional representation, wanakuwa sawa na wanaume katika bunge.
The shock union between President William Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga coming in the backdrop of Raila's declaration for the Africa Union Commission candidature, a move backed by ruling coalition Kenya Kwanza. And just this evening, Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed arrived in the country for a state visit. He was received by President William Ruto. Insiders opine that, apart from talks on collaboration between the two countries, Ruto is also expected to capitalize on occasion to push for Ethiopia's support of Azimio leader Raila Odinga's bid for the AU chairmanship.
There are many areas that we will agree on, but there will still be areas that we will disagree on. And that is the beauty of our democracy. That is the beauty of our political system.
With the once bitter rivals turn allies, seemingly unleashing an unprecedented handshake card, will this newfound alliance signify yet another political shocker? Seth Olale, Citizen.
All right. Now, Mr. G, there's something you said that was very, very interesting. That at one point, Akina Gachagua complained that after the handshake, development went to Nyanza region, and those who were perceived to be the stronghold of both Uhuru and Ruto never really benefited from the government they termed their own. Already we are seeing the first place that William Ruto went after being sworn in to launch some of the great projects was in Homa Bay. And there we saw leaders welcoming him in a very nice way. We even saw one lawyer, one governor for Siaya, James Orengo, really praised the president then, okay? And that has continued up to today. Do you see this as another ploy by can we call it a ploy? But can we say that somehow Kenya Kwanza, they should be worried again? Umejimute kaka, unmute.
Sorry. You know, it's not about being worried. You know what happened, Mr. Jex? The guy who is Ruto used propaganda to get votes. He used propaganda and he was able to win the Central Kenya. In fact, Central Kenya, unajua, as much as tulipata some votes huko, but a number of people voted for Ruto. Hakutaka kabisa story ya Raila na hakutaka kabisa story ya Uhuru. Uhuru is their own, lakini hawakutaka kumsikia. Why? Because of the propaganda that were being used by this president ambao is Ruto. Now what happened? He knew that he has used propaganda na watu watamkuja kumwepa. The Central Kenya watamwepa. That is something that he knew. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to counter by going to Nyanza and Western Kenya, so that anaweza shika mioyo za watu wa Nyanza na watu wa Western Kenya when it comes to 2027, kwa sababu najua Central Kenya itakuwa imemwacha. At the moment tayari sha lose grips in Central Kenya. Watu wengi sana wataki kusikia story yake, amepoteza sana kule Central Kenya. So he wanted to play a game whereby he can take na aweze to win these hearts of people from Western Kenya and from Nyanza. And to win people from Nyanza, he's now using another propaganda that he's the one ambaye anapatia baba kazi. You see? Sasa that word anapatia baba kazi, AU chairmanship. Sasa most of Wajaluo from Nyanza watasema na huyu mtu anapenda mtu wetu, huyu mtu anapenda baba wetu, so we can stand with him. You see? So he's trying to play that is just a trick. He's trying to play the games so that ikifika 2027 wakati Central Kenya, because I am sure Central Kenya wataweza kusimamisha mtu wao. Sidhani kama watasimama na Uhuru na Ruto tena vinalisimama na yeye 2022. They will either watasimama na mtu wao wasimamishe mtu, ama kama watakuja kwa Azimio, although siko sure kama watakuja wote kwa Azimio, but anything can happen in politics. You know, in politics hatuwezi nini tu tuwezi tu ikata, anything can happen. But in case they come to Azimio, lazima watakuwa na cry ya kutaka mtu wao pia akue pale. You see? So pale tayari Uhuru shall lose that grip in Central Kenya. So he has to take Western, and he also has to win mioyo za watu wa Nyanza. And that's why he's playing these tricks again.
Now, already there seems to be some fallout. We have almost a clear demarcation where we have guys who are already supporting the call for Raila Odinga to be the AUC chairperson. What do you make of it that even in Kenya Kwanza kuna watu wana feel kidogo we don't want Raila Odinga to have it. Kwa Azimio ni venye maybe many wouldn't want to speak about it. What do you make of it?
Okay, on the side of Azimio, many will not want to speak on it kwa sababu Baba is the ODM. You know that chama ODM. ODM is Baba and Azimio is Baba. So most of these guys from Azimio and ODM, they will not wish to speak about this thing because they know that when Baba comes out of the politics of Kenya, they will lose. And that is a fact. Most of these politicians, wakati Baba atajitoa, because at any time ataweza kuchukua hiyo seat, inamaanisha kuwa he will not be allowed kuparticipate kwa mambo ya siasa ambayo itakuwa hapa. In fact itabidi aende ishi kule ni Ethiopia. Atapewa ofisi yake huko, akae kule kabisa, atakuwa anatembea huko mara siku moja kwa mwezi ama mara mbili, alafu tena anarudi kule. So hata kuwa fully akiparticipate kwa politics. What am I saying? The politics ambayo ita happen as ODM, in fact ODM inaweza sambaratika. Kwa sababu ODM is Baba.
Okay.
Another thing I'm trying to say ni kuwa Azimio itasambaratika kwa sababu Azimio ni Baba. Now let me go back to what you talked about, the issue of Central Kenya, the issue of KK government supporting Baba. KK, they're not supporting Baba in a good motive. Watu all of them, they're just propagandists, and watu ambao they're doing it kwa sababu wanajua Baba akitoka kwa senior politics itakuwa walk over for them. Ruto atachukua tena. Uje watu, they believe that Baba is the problem in Kenya. These people from KK, from Kenya Kwanza, they believe that Baba is the problem. So they are doing this kumtoa nje. That's why unaona wakiongea, it is as if they are mocking him. Hawaongei from genuine, and it's not genuine. They are talking in a way that, in fact, they are just mocking Baba. Si watu wanaongea in a genuine way. Yeah, they are doing it kwa sababu wanajua Baba akishatoka kwa hii scene, kitu ya kwanza ambao anasema hawatakuwa na maandamano. And those are things ambazo ziko kwa media wanaongea. Wakisema Baba akitoka hatutakuwa na maandamano, Baba akitoka hatutakuwa na mtu wa kusema tumeibiwa. And those are the words they are using, ambao ni hao watu ambao ni KK, alafu anasema wana support Baba. They are not supporting Baba. They are just mocking Baba. Yeah. Kwa sababu even if they do, si ati hata wakisema tu wana support Baba, si ati wanasema watatumia mechanism sijui nini na nini. There's nothing they will do. MC hakuna kitu atafanya mpaka Baba apate hiyo kiti. MP, senator, hakuna kitu atafanya. The only person ambaye anamata pale ni president, kwa sababu president has to vote. You see? Na hii si mambo ya Kenya peke yake ya. So hao watu waache kutudanganya. It's just a mockery.
Now there's something that equally that you have equally mentioned that will be an interesting thing to see. What happens to ODM? Because as you have said, Baba has always been ODM. With his move out, what happens to ODM? Does ODM become stronger? And we saw how they had a revamp energy ya rebrand, ya kuifanya ikue poa. We saw them going out of their way to recruit new members. With that, with him walking out, or rather, na wanasema in fact wana encourage Ethiopia si mbali, Addis Ababa ni hapa tu, ni hapa tu chini, right?
Hiyo ni kujitia moyo. Hiyo ni kujitia moyo. You know what will happen? If you want to know, if you want to be sure that kutakuwa na shida, look at what is happening currently sahi. Kuna watu wameanza kujitokeza, sijui mara wanataka badi like Ida, the wife, Ida Odinga, the wife to Raila, anasema wapatie badi. You see, other people will rise, watasimama waseme no, badi hafai, tunataka mtu wetu. So I think if at all Baba atapata that chairmanship seat ya AU, he need to be very careful when ata handle this issue, kwa sababu he is the ODM. Baba is the ODM, naenda anafanya ODM imesimama pale as a strong the way it is. So sija atatumia mbinu gani?
Yes.
But he need to be ibaki kuwa strong when ilikuwa. Kwa sababu akisema hata anaitoka sahi anaacha, naona ikisambaratika. Itasambaratika tu kama tu Azimio. The team yote itasambaratika. Wataachana wote, kila mtu ataenda kivyake.
Now, gazeti ya jana, and we were to look at this in the morning, we'll look at it again tomorrow morning. Wanasema hivi ya kwamba, and I'm glad you have brought that issue. This is where we have a tug of war in the family of Raila Odinga. This is what Daily Nation was bringing out, that one Mr. Oburu Odinga, the CIA senator, and the spouse of Raila Odinga have differed on who should really become the successor therein of Raila Odinga in the event now that he wins a position in AUC. And one senator for Siaya was proposing the minority leader Opio Wandai, and Mama Ida was proposing the former minority leader Mbadi to be the same. And already therein lies a challenge. Already, from the family they can't agree. On party levels, can they agree? Mr. G, do you see a situation where ODM can agree that this becomes the person who leads us going forward? This becomes the chairman, this becomes the vice chairman, and some guys already wameanza hata kujitokeza, wanasema wanasimama, like Joho tulimwona the other day, baada ya kwenda kwa political hiatus, asharudi ashaanza kusema anawania. So what do you make of that tussle between Ida Odinga and Oburu Odinga, Mbadi and Opio Wandai, all that? What do you make of it? Can ODM survive this storm? Because it is the only party that has really outlived itself from 2005 to now. Can it really overcome the challenge of Raila leaving?
For ODM to survive, Baba need to be very careful with the way he will handle the team, kwa sababu remember we have a group ambayo inasema kuwa nani can be the best leader, ambaye ni Oparanya, the former governor of Kakamega, can be the best leader, and another group says is that Babu Owino, some other group inasema is that Babu Owino takes over because he is a good person ambaye anaweza chukua from Baba, and is this other guys ambao anakuja kina sasa Wandai and pia kina Badi. I think Baba has to be very careful the way he will handle that thing for ODM to survive, because it is in a very critical place whereby akimes kidogo itakuwa imesambaratisha chama yote. Bado hakuna ile umoja kabisa pale. Without Baba hakuna umoja pale, kwa sababu you see like somebody like Joho amekuwa absent all those days, all those months. Sasa anajitokezea anasema pia nataka kusimama kama president, na akisimama anasimama na ODM, you see. So hii italeta vita. Sasa we need Baba to handle this thing very carefully. Asipocheza nayo vizuri ataipata imeanguka, imepotea. Hata akisema sijui anasema kuwa Ethiopia ni karibu, no, Baba hata husika na hiyo. Baba will be out of this thing. Baba atakuwa away, and you know, for somebody to rule ama for somebody to make a decision, anafaa awe in that area, you know, just like a region where when a ruler anataka kurule a region fulani, kama haizi ishi kwa hiyo region, hata jua the consequences ambazo zina happen pale, hata jua vitu ambazo watu wanapitia, the troubles ambazo zina happen pale, hata jua. But for him to be around, he will spot where the problem is, ataona mapema where the problem is, na ataweza kufix before things goes beyond ile point ambayo inaweza kuwa fixed. Lakini sasa yeye atakuwa mbali, akiwa mbali hatakuwa able kujua how the team is doing, how the ODM is doing, how the Azimio is doing, and when the problem rises ama the challenges zinaanza kurise, itakuwa ngumu for them to fix, kwa sababu atakuwa hajui ni nini anafaa guze. Itabidi aite mtu akuja mwambie kwa kitu fulani ndio ina shida, kitu fulani ndio ina shida, ndio wakae waanze kuongea, ambayo haitakuwa rahisi.
One of the things that will become a challenge. One of the things that will become a challenge, Mr. G, and I think you're really mentioning it so well, that Raila Odinga cannot actively involve himself with the politics of the country. All right, he might have his preferences, but he won't be out there. All right, we won't hear him as we normally do. We won't see him as we normally do. He'll be all over the world, all over Africa, and for us, he will be coming once. And even when he comes as an ordinary person, of course, with a role in AUC. Now, when he comes back, he cannot participate in party politics. there are guys who have benefited by Raila holding their hands. For example, he goes to a region and says, Flani or Flani is the best candidate, vote for him. There are guys who have sailed through in so many elections because of their affiliation with Raila Odinga. My question to you this evening is, what happens to this caliber of people who have benefited tremendously from their relationship between them and Raila Odinga? Now that he's out of the picture, what happens to them?
Hao ndio watu ambao unaona wanahuzunika sahi. Those are the people ambao wanapitia some challenges. Hawako happy. They are not happy because they know baba akiwa wamepata, lakini baba akiwa hayuko hawatapata. So they are not happy. They want baba to be around. Even though some of us also want baba to be around because tuliona baba akiwa a strong man that can fight for us. Baba is the person ambaye akiona something na kama sahi the challenges that you are passing through, unapata kama hii nini wasteful of money of finances ya Kenya, when watu wanatumia pesa vibaya. The control budget amejitokeza akisema kuwa some money zimepotea, almost 50 billion zimetumika without even approval. Sasa yule somebody ambaye anaweza jitokeza akapigania that issue ni baba ambaye alikuwa akijitokeza. Somebody like Karonzo, maybe if he can just amuka kwa sahi ajitengeneze, then he start fighting for mananchi wa chini, kwa sababu sasa ndio wakati anaweza kujimake. Sasa baba will not be around. Baba atakuwa anaendelea na mambo yake ya kungangana akikampeni hiyo seat. But I think the team need to rise up. And the team venanani amesema unajua there's a thing, kuna kitu ambayo Rebel ameongea, even though kwa sikubaliana na Rebel sana, but something ambayo amesema kwa we need another third party team. Although he talked about revolution.
Another wheel,
But yeah, he talked about revolution, but I don't know who can bring the revolution part, kwa sababu most of the people ambao wako hapa mbele sasa ni wale ambao ni waoga. And you know revolution na mtu mwoga haifanyiki. You see, kama sasa tuko na Wanjigi kwa amesema kuwa hii mwezi wa 3 ambao ni kesho kutwa tu ndio sasa kama mambo yatakuwa hajabadilika tutaona the real picture ya watu. Wacha tuone kama Wanjigi ataleta that revolution. But to me, when I look at these people, we're looking at Kalonzo. I'm not castigating him, but I look at Kalonzo na muona is still weak. Ni mtu ambaye hajaonyesha kuwa akiwa that strong ambaye anaweza fanya vile vitu ambavyo tunaona baba akifanya. You see, and the other team ambayo imebaki pia ni watu ambao wamebaki ni waoga. Those are the people ambao cannot bring revolution. And now the nation, sijui kama nation yenyewe inaweza simama as a Kenyan people, the citizens, sijui kama anaweza simama wenyewe waka call for that revolution. I'm not sure, but maybe it can happen, we don't know.
Now I want to ask you a very interesting question in this sense. Why is it that now we feel sad that he's leaving, yet the country has not honored him to the level of being a president? If the country has refused him, why doesn't he try his luck elsewhere? Why should Kenyans lament? Yet when they had the opportunity to make him a president, they failed to do so. Now that he has an opportunity to be the chairman, they're already feeling sad about it. Why don't we just allow, when you make your bed, you sleep on it, right? Now that we say tunamtuma Bondo na amekataa kukaa Bondo, anaenda kwa Africa sasa as an AUC chairperson. Why do you think it's still rubbing some people wrongly?
No, Baba is an enigma. Baba is a man in politics.
Yes.
He's got somebody ambaye anajua kucheza with politics. So that vacuum ikitoka, people will miss it. There's a way when Baba kwa amejibeba kwa politics. So wakiangalia that scenario anaona ni kama that interesting thing itakuwa imepotea. Hawatapata the thing ambayo alikuwa anapata, you see. But ukweli nakubaliana na wewe kuwa Baba has tried. But amenyimwa. Na wale watu ambao alimnyima ndio watu ambao walikuwa wakimuita mganga, wakimuita sijui nini, wakifanya sijui nini, ndio sasa wanampraise wakisema he's our king, he's a person ambaye ameleta sijui liberation, he's a person ambaye ameleta constitution, he's a person ambaye amefanya nini, amepigania wananchi, he's a person ambaye ana fit kwa AAU. These are the people ambao walikataa kumpatia. Okay, for us it is a joy wakati akaenda pale, lakini sasa the bitter part ni pale ambao watu wataanza kujisifu. Unaona, that's something ambayo inatupatia ile kukosa peace. Kwa sababu baba akipata wataanza kutuchekelea kusema sisi ni mtu wetu ametupatia, ni mtu wetu, ni president wetu amempatia kazi, ni sisi tumempatia kazi, alikuwa hana kazi yoyote, sisi ndio tumempatia. Hiyo kujisifu ndio sisi tunaona haitakuwa mzuri sana. But for baba to get the seat, it is better, kwa sababu Kenya amejaribu lakini watu wamekataa kumpatia. Amejaribu sana, watu wamekataa kumpatia. So akipata hiyo tutafurahia pia.
Okay, let's shift gears kwa sababu alikuwa amepewa ya infrastructure and some argue he did a good job. Okay, so and we didn't complain then. Why is it that this one we are complaining about before we shift to another topic? Because
No,
it is not the
for
first
the
time
infrastructure,
he'll be working away from Kenya.
yeah, for infrastructure he used to do the work, lakini pia alikuwa bado kwa politics, you see. Alikuwa based in Kenya. And although alikuwa anafanya hiyo kazi, but he was based in Kenya. Now for the EU itabidi atoke Kenya, you see, aende Addis Ababa, awe na ofisi yake.
Okay.
And alafu pia ile role ambayo inamngojea is a very big role ambayo hawezi kuwa atakuwa na participate huku kwa siasa alafu na participate kwa that role. No, itakuwa rahisi. Itabaki abaki na role moja ambayo itakuwa ni AU. So itabidi tummiss. Yeah. Kwa Kenyan scene itabidi tummiss. On the infrastructure side, tulikuwa tunamuona kila wakati because it was just a department ambayo alikuwa ana handle, so he could handle the department na endelea na siasa yake hapa. Chairmanship itakubalika, haiwezekani.
So are we jealous because we are seeing he is now ameamua to move on? Is it that, for example, when you see your ex move on, amepata chali mpoa, you know, wame succeed, are we jealous?
No, it's not about jealous. It's not about jealous. You know, we have people in this country of Kenya who believe that it's only Baba who can fight for them. That's a group of people who their trust is on Baba. So wakati wanamuona akitoka, wataona ni kama amebaki orphans. You see, that is what is happening. It's not about kumuonea jealousy, no. Yeah, it just that issue of orphanism ambayo ita happen. People who trusted Baba, people who believe in everything in Baba. Baba amekuwa the man of the day, the man of the match, amekuwa ni Baba kwa politics. So the moment anajitoa, kuna watu ambao walikuwa they cannot do anything without him. What I feel that pain, that vacuum. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, there's this big elephant again, Uhuru. What do you think is the role of Uhuru? We have seen Uhuru with Museveni. We have seen Uhuru with one Samia Suluhu. What is his role? What is he doing? What is he up to? Some have argued alikuwa na campaign a different person. I don't know. I'm yet to see a footage him endorsing Jakaya Kikwete. I'm even yet to see a footage Jakaya Kikwete saying he's vying. What do you make of Uhuru Kenyatta and his
those were just propaganda
therein? Does it affect?
Yeah, those were just propaganda from UDA.
When you look at Uhuru, propaganda, what would be his role in this in all this?
You know, first of all, we need to know that Uhuru is a factor in in Azimio. He is a principal in ODM and in Azimio. So there's no way in Azimio. There's no way he can support he can support Kikwete and yet Baba is here as his friend. Look at how they used to work before atoke kuwa president awe former. He was closer sana kwa Baba. Na hata wakati tulikuwa tushapiga kura, he came out akasema yeye president wake ni Baba. You see, so is a person ambaye amekuwa kimiti na Baba wakiongea. It was just a propaganda that was created by UDA kuleta some confusion around. But what I know is that okay, I'm not very sure. I cannot just say it with confidence. But what I know is that he has been fighting for Baba. You know, kulikuwa na disconnect between Kenya and our neighboring country, which is Tanzania and Uganda. Kulikuwa na that disconnect. And you know, somebody like Museveni is the father of the East Africa, and is the person ambaye ako na a lot of say in East Africa. He has a say. Akiamua kufanya kitu fulani, he has an impact in East Africa. So Uhuru na the president of Uganda, Museveni, they are closer friends. You see, that's why umeona kila wakati. In fact, many trips amefanya akiwa Uganda. Even hata ile wakati alikuwa anaenda kule in Western Africa, he used the Ugandan airline akienda kule. Hakutumia hata ya Kenya, alitumia ya Uganda airline akienda kule. Juzi tumemwona akienda Tanzania. So I can just perceive that he's just trying to sell Baba in that East African countries who are our neighbors. Anajaribu kuongea nao akiwaambia wampigie Baba kura. Because even he also know that Baba akipata hiyo kiti ya AU atakuwa amepata gain, atakuwa amepata something nice. kwa sababu ni mtu ambaye he knows what Africa is. He's a person ambaye is a pan-African, he's a person that anaelewa how the continent is. So he can be the best candidate to take that seat. And I know he's just fighting for Baba aweze kuchukua hiyo seat.
Right. Now, with Uhuru factor, of course, Uhuru has close friends. Samia Suluhu is his friend, and many people are his friends. Do you see him, that friendship, do you see it benefiting Raila Odinga at this time round?
Yeah, it will. You know, hakuna siku tumeona, unaona like this picture whereby you see Ruto, you see Baba and you see Museveni. Hatujaona kitu kama hiyo. Tulikuwa tunaona tu mara moja moja Baba anapitia pale anasalimia huyo nini Museveni anaenda. Na tena si commonly, maybe in a year anaenda mara moja peke yake kusalimia Museveni Uganda. Ni watu ambao hawajakuwa that connected sana. Kumekuwa na some nini disconnect between them, you see. So ukianza kuona wako pamoja hivyo, I think hii ni mambo ambao ni kwa sababu ya Uhuru factor. Uhuru ndo anafanya hivi vitu yote ina happen. Kitu ya kwanza, Museveni alikuwa patani na Ruto kwa sababu ya vile Ruto amefanya hizi policy yake na his businesses. Ni mtu ambaye amekuwa akiaffect Uganda sana with his policies. Sasa Uganda kwa mamua hata in fact their business wanaitoa Kenya wanapeleka Tanzania, watumie port of Tanzania kwa sababu ya how Ruto alikuwa amefanya. But ukianza kuona unaanza kurudi pamoja, I think it's just because of the Uhuru's factor. Even though Uhuru and Ruto ni kama walikuwa hawapatani, but just because of this AU factor, this AU seat ya Baba, I think itabidi Uhuru aingilie katikati na aweze kuongea na all these neighbors country ambao walikuwa wamekosa amani kwetu, hao watu ambao walikuwa wamekosa kutrust. You know, we had lost trust to our neighbors, so lazima Uhuru's factor play very well na play. Yeah, I think Uhuru factor ndio imeleta hii mambo yote hii ambao unaona.
Kidogo kidogo, I'm almost certain this meeting was not by coincidence. It was almost planned. Raila being in Uganda, Ruto being in Uganda, and Museveni being the host. All right. It looks casual kwa sababu wako farm, but I'm almost certain there was more than what we are seeing here. Who do you think orchestrated this meeting?
It was a plan. Remember, Baba was
orchestrated, and who stands?
You know, Baba was, I think he was in Ethiopia. Yeah, Baba was in Ethiopia. Alafu from Ethiopia alienda to Namibia kuzika ule president. And in Namibia, the president ambayo is Ruto alikuwa pia kule Namibia, you see. Na wakiwa kule Namibia, akienda, there's a rumors kuwa Baba alikuwa hajaplan kwenda hiyo matanga. Even though the president ambaye alikufa alikuwa his closer friend. Lakini kwa his diary, I think haikuwa imekuwa open kuwa Baba anaenda kule. But we are being told kuna rumors kuwa aliambiwa kuwa kuna president wanataka kuongea naye. Those president walikuwa wanataka kuongea naye kuhusu hii issue ya AU chairmanship. I think there's some kuna ile kujuana, alikuwa anataka kujuana vizuri, kuongelea hizo factor. That's why you see wakati alienda kule Namibia kulikuwa na those pictures ambao walipiga akiwa ana mingle, akiwa ana interact with the presidents pale kwa nini. You know, no one can be allowed to interact with presidents the way Baba alikuwa interact now. Baba is a statesman, ni mtu ambaye anakuwa respected the whole world. So pale we are being told that aliitwa na those presidents ambao walikuwa pale, walikuwa wanataka kumuongelesha kuhusiana na hii mambo ya kiti ya AU. So what I'm trying to say ni kuwa this hii picture hapa, it was not a coincidence. This was a planned. Wakati walifika pale Namibia waliongea, and I'm sure, okay, not very sure, but I'm sure lazima walikutana na Ruto kwa sababu Ruto alikuwa kule, and maybe walidiscuss kwa sababu Baba alikuwa na timu yake ya campaign na kina Mudavadi alikuwa pale. Izeda walikutana pia kaongea kidogo na wakasema wacha twende tuongee na Museveni. So it is just a planned thing. Nothing just happened by coincidence in politics. This was a well planned meeting. Na wakaplan, wakaenda wakaongea. Wakati wameshaongea, hatuwezi jua kabisa exactly everything ambayo aliongelea, but nani wametokezea, wamekuja nje. Mtu kama Ruto ametoka kaongea kwa, walikuwa wameenda kuongea kuhusu mambo ya energy and petrol, alafu pia wakaongea kuhusu mambo ya AU. Na Baba pia amesema kwa alikuwa ameenda kuongelea mambo ya our relationship na pia mambo ya kiti ya AU. So this is something that imekuwa planned for a very long time. Si kitu ambacho imeanza tu leo. It is not a coincidence.
Now, coincidence or not, is Is Museveni the one? Can we call him the one who is playing the matchmaker in that and reconcile these two big beans, or these two guys who at one point were bitter rivals? Is Museveni the man uniting these two gentlemen? Why did we have to see
No,
these photos from Uganda?
no, from Uganda, I cannot say that it's Museveni who is trying to unite these people. These people were united by Nani,
Mhm.
by the former president of, was it Nigeria? Ama the president ambaye alikuwa hapa, the former president
Olusegun
ambaye alikuja
Obasanjo.
announce. Yeah, huyo ndio person ambaye amejaribu
Olusegun Obasanjo.
Obasanjo is the person ambaye amejaribu unite these guys, not Museveni. Museveni had lost
Mhm.
hope in Kenya.
Mhm.
Museveni had
Mhm.
lost trust in Kenya, but tumemwona sana akiwa anaongea na
Mhm.
president ambaye ni former president ambaye ni Uhuru Kenyatta, akijaribu kumleta
Mhm.
close. So what I can just say ni
Mhm.
kuwa on this issue of AU, Museveni is the baba. Museveni ni baba wa East Africa, and Museveni
Mhm.
has a say, you see. So because of
Mhm.
that post, that role ambao ako nayo as an East Africa father, lazima waende wamuone, because wakimconvince
Okay.
yeye kufuatia baba, he will convince those other guys from Central Kenya.
Mhm.
Museveni is only in Kenya. Wakenya, unajua Wakenya wana tabia ingine mbovu sana. Is only in Kenya ambao kwa wanamuona kama dictator, wanamuona kama mtu mbaya, even though he's a dictator, but is only in Kenya whereby kwa namkosoa sana wakimuona kwa mbaya.
Mhm.
Lakini ukienda Uganda, this guy is loved with his people. Waganda anapenda Museveni sana, but ukija Kenya, Kenya ndo anakastigate sana. Unajua Kenya wako na tabia ingine ya upuzi. Kama juzi mniona pia wakati the preacher Ben amekuja, watu wanaongea upuzi kweli. Hata nisiongelee hiyo kwanza.
All right. Wacha tusikize kidogo Mseveni. I'm not sure how this nini is, but let's listen in even as we take a small break. Let's listen in to one Mr. and President for Uganda, Mr. Yoweri Museveni.
Similar problems we have solved in Africa here. Like when we solved the problem of Idi Amin working with Tanzania. Africa can solve these problems once we agree on the concept. Because that time, it was Tanzania and us. Nobody, a little bit Zambia, a little bit Mozambique, and we solved the problem of Idi Amin. The problem of Burundi, it was solved by East Africa. So this problem, the way we discussed today, I'm sure we can solve it. We don't have to say much. I don't know whether the Excellency wants to say something. Excellency. Okay. Thank you. So with these few words, the conference is, the summit is closed.
All right. All right. Now, he says that the problem of Africa can be solved. He gave an example of Idi Amin and how they solved it. If that is anything to go by, what are they trying to solve? Are they solving the what President today said, winner takes it, or the a win-win situation where we don't always have to be president, but one can be a chairman, the other one can be a president? Was that the win-win the president was trying to talk about? Was it what they're trying to solve?
I'm not sure, but what I know is that kumekuwa na disconnect between East Africa. Kumekuwa na some challenges. The relationship imekuwa affected kidogo with those bad policies ambazo zilikuwa zina happen, people waki lose jobs, businesses zikiharibika hapa Mombasa, high taxes, people cannot perform, people cannot carry out their businesses. The environment ilikuwa very hostile to people, and pia our neighbors wamepata the hostility, mafinya sana, business zao zikawa affected. So kumekuwa na shida kumekuwa na disconnect between these leaders in East Africa. And when he talked about East Africa solving their own problem, I think it's true, because these are the people who understand each other very well. And watu ambao wanajua nini tunapitia, and watu ambao wanaishi pamoja, they intermingle, alafu wanaelewa kabisa shida za mwingine. They are the only people who can solve their own their own issues. Hakuna mzungu anaweza kuja ka solve this issue ambayo tunapitia saa hii. It is we in East Africa. So when he talked about solving this issue, I think it's those issue about how businesses are affected. You know, with this harsh taxation ambayo happen in Kenya and those wrong policies, it affect a lot of people. A lot of businesses, even from Uganda, imekuwa affected. So when he talk about the problem, I'm not sure. That's why even Ruto alisema kuwa walikuwa wameenda kuongelea issue ya energy and petrol. Those are the issue ambao ameenda kuongelea. So kumekuwa na disconnect na kumekuwa na challenge, and they're the only people who can solve it. Hakuna mtu mwingine anaweza kuja kusolve.
We have few minutes before we even wind up. I want to ask you this question. We have seen the Speaker of the National Assembly support William Ruto. We have seen MPs support William Ruto. We saw Musalia Mudavadi speak highly of William Ruto, not William Ruto, my goodness, of Raila Odinga. I see someone trying to join us. Now, for you to join us, you must activate a mic or a camera so that it gives you access to the studio. I see Elro amejaribu kutujoin but hajaweza kwa sababu you must have one of those activated, your mic or your camera, so that you are able to join us live on studio. And equally, if you are interested to join us, we really invite you to join us. The link is there at the comment section. That's the link you use to join us hapa kwa studio. Ukiingia ili uweze kufanikiwa kama vile Arol amejaribu, lazima uwashe kamera na ama washe mic na uandike jina. Ameandika yake Arol, I'm seeing him, but I'm unable to add him kwa sababu you must activate a camera or a mic so that you are able to be added. Okay, thank you very much. I was talking about Musalia, I was talking about the Speaker of the National Assembly and a host of MPs who have come out to support Raila Odinga. The other day, Musalia was not in the country, but he was really speaking highly about why we need a person from East Africa for the first time being a chair of the AUC. It has always been in those sides of the West African countries. Those are the ones who have, those are the countries that have really benefited from this chairperson. Do you see a benefit? What benefit? Is there a benefit of East Africa having one of us really going for that seat and equally even having the seat? Is there a benefit accrued to it for a country, for a region like East Africa?
There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of benefit from that. There's a benefit. Look, just go back to go back to ile period ambao baba alikuwa kama infrastructure for AU. I just listen to how he used to speak. Yeah, the way he used to speak. Upate that connection, how East Africa should be connected to Central Africa, should be connected to Western Africa, to South Africa. Unapata kwa there are a lot of things that need to be done for us to succeed like East Africa, alafu the whole Africa. So when Baba takes over that seat, I think it will be a very big boost to East Africa side, kwa sababu this is the country ambao anatoka and is a country ambao anajua and the challenges ambazo anajua anaweza zitumia akiwa kule AU kusaidia wa Kenya. Maybe inaweza kuwa not much political, but there's a lot of benefit that will come with it. Yeah.
All right. Tomorrow morning we'll look at the wastages in government and many other things. So that is to tell you, tomorrow morning our newspaper review is back here at Kenya News Link. So make sure you tune in from well, what will be the time, Mr. G? Remind me. 8 or 9? 9, I think, right?
Around 8:39. Around 8:30.
8:39. Let's call it 9 so that we have a standard time for everyone to join. So itakuwa 9 Kenyan time. I don't know what time that will be in your country, but please join us. Equally, kindly consider subscribing to Kenya News Link hapo kwa YouTube. What do? Yes, umesubscribe kwa Mtembei TV. Thank you very much. Umesubscribe kwa Naxfab. Asante sana. But now we are equally asking you to kindly consider subscribing to Kenya Newslink so that whenever we post any other thing apart from such nice shows, you will be the first one to be notified. Okay, so subscribe and let us grow together. Thank you for the numbers that are growing quite thick and fast, and we are really grateful. we don't take any of you and any of our subscriber quite lightly. We appreciate and thank you for the love that we have received from all of you. Asante sana wa Kenya. Kenya News Link hapa ni home, okay? So let's meet tomorrow at 9. But before we wrap up, I want us to listen to a different explanation that was given in KTN. I love how they did it. Let's listen in even as I bring this to a close. All right? Let's have Latif have it. Okay.
Our sign language interpreter is Naresha Owiti. Let's begin the bulletin. President William Ruto says his new partnership with the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga is a win-win situation meant to unite the country and bridge the gap created during the 2022 general election. Speaking in Homa Bay, the president asked Raila to watch the developments keenly, promising to deliver the African Union Commission's job for the opposition leader. This comes as the former Prime Minister also held a consultative meeting with a multi-sectoral working group on the 2/3 gender principle led by the CS for Gender, Aisha Jumwa. As KTN's political affairs reporter now, Emmanuel Tor tells us, the developments come hours after the duo met President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda yesterday.
Hours after his meeting with the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga alongside President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in Uganda, where he drummed up support for the opposition leader's AU Commission job, President William Ruto flew to Odinga's backyard in Homa Bay County, breaking his silence over Odinga's AU job bid, saying the plan to close ranks was meant to ensure a win-win situation for the country.
And there are things I told you guys, and you thought it was a joke. Now I can see it is not a joke. Sindio? Niliwaambia tutapanga maneno kabisa na hakuna mtu atakuwa loser kwa hii kitu. Tutapanga ndio kila mtu apate kasehemu kidogo ndio tuende mbele. Sindio? Si nilisema pale kwa soko. Hamuku niamini siku hiyo, lakini sasa maneno inaendelea namna hiyo. So na tunaomba Mungu ikae namna hiyo.
The president adding that the plan to ensure Odinga's win was in fact on course, charging Odinga's supporters to watch the space.
We want to unify the country. We want to work together towards the unity of Kenya. And that is important to all of us, you know, and there is space for all of us in Kenya. You do not win by making others lose. We want a win-win outcome for all of us. We all want to be winners.
This comes as the opposition leader held a consultative meeting with the multi-sectoral working group on the 2/3 gender principle for gender, culture, the arts and heritage, Aisha Jumwa, at his Capitol Hill Square offices in Nairobi. The meeting, which elicited mixed reactions, comes at a time when reports indicate the former Prime Minister's close allies could end up with appointments in government, including cabinet, as a consequence of the secret handshake.
Na tunataka hii ripoti ya kina mama iweke pamoja na ile ya NADCO.
Yes.
Ili petition. Hiyo mimi vile nitaweka pendekezo hiyo kwa Bwana Ruto.
Yes. Being one of the leaders whom we trust in this country and his contribution to this journey, we are happy that he has given us opportunity.
The events unfold barely hours after President Ruto and Odinga met with Uganda President Yoweri Museveni on Monday in his Kisozi country home. In pictures shared on their social media platforms, the duo said the meeting discussed Odinga's candidacy for chairperson of the African Union Commission. Odinga thanked Museveni for endorsing his bid. The former premier has been out of the country for more than a week, starting with a trip to Germany to the colleges where he attended his tertiary education, and then camping in Namibia for President Hage Geingoob's burial, where he lobbied for the post. To win, Odinga needs 2/3 of the total votes, which translates to about 33 votes out of the 50 countries that will participate in the process. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Sudan have been suspended from the AU and may not participate in the February 2025 elections. Emmanuel Tor, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now, there is a question that will be the last one for this show. There seems to be increase in the visit to Capitol Hill. You remember those days during the handshake time, Capitol Hill was a very busy office, the office for Raila Odinga. And today he received a very interesting visitor, one Aisha Jumwa. And previously we would see Akina Waiguru would go there. And upon those stories, muosho moja ilikuja. You remember. Are we seeing a repeat of what Capitol Hill used to be defined as? That if you have a good relationship with the government, anyone can go to Raila Odinga's office, and kidogo kidogo, Capitol Hill became a famous office. What do you make of
Exactly.
Aisha Jumwa's need to go to Raila Odinga and present that document or that whatever for two-third gender rule? Is it even necessary? Was it necessary to go to Raila Aisha Juma? Was it necessary for her to go to visit Raila Odinga on that issue alone?
I'm happy to see Mr. Alex and our guy here. Ujue siwezi kuona majina, but I'm really happy to see my guys
Oh,
here.
sorry.
Okay, on that,
Anaitwa
on that,
Argol. I'll get the name for you on the stage just now. But go ahead.
okay, on that issue, I think we will see the repeat. You know, Aisha Juma, she's one woman ambaye alikuwa anatusi baba sana. You remember? He's a woman ambaye alikuwa hataki kusikia anything, and yet ni baba amemkuza, ni baba ambaye amemuinua, but alikuwa hataki kusikia anything concerning baba. Now today anasimama anasema kuwa baba is the only person trusted in this country. You see, that's why I told you the hypocrisy ambayo iko kwa watu wa KK ni ya juu sana. Sai anaongea anasema baba is the only man who can be trusted, na wakati baba anaomba kura wanamuita mchawi. Wanamuita mchawi, wanamuita mtu wa kunywa pombe, wanamuita mtu ambaye sijui anafanya nini. Lakini sasa on the other issues wanaanza kuongea vizuri. You know, okay, mimi I call them hypocrites kwa sababu ya what they do, but akiita baba the trusted man, I believe her because baba is the only trusted man. Although pia huwa anatu let down saa zingine, but ikifika kwa sometimes na vile huwa anafanya kazi yake, we cannot compare baba with those other guys. They're all hypocrites. So we will see the repeat kwa sababu ya hii handshake, tutaona the repeat of what used to happen. Capitol Hill itakuwa na nini, lakini sasa hatakuwa, you know, maybe itakuwa busy the only one year here, and it gets apart the AAU chair, atakuwa hayuko tena, hakutakuwa na hiyo.
Okay, so we should be ready to have a very active Capitol Hill. Na mambo na mwosho mmoja itarudi tena. I don't know, I really pray itarudi, that we don't have people who are cynical, sinned all over, and then wanaenda Capitol Hill and then we begin singing their praises. Arol, hi, how are you? Arol, I don't know, I think I'm reading it right. How are you? Can you hear me?
You?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm
Try
glad
to raise
to
your
have
voice.
joined.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. If you
Okay.
can slightly speak louder kidogo so as we can hear you. Your voice is so faint, sir. Try to come closer to the gadget you're using so that we can really hear from you. Okay, even as Arol is working on his mic. Alex, good evening. I think where you are, it's good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Is it afternoon yet? Yeah. How are you?
I'm okay. It's a good afternoon.
Yeah. So, how have you been? You have been away equally. Kenya News Link tumepotea siku nne kidogo, lakini tumerudi. How do you make of the new changes happening in our country? Did you anticipate them or they came to you as a shock?
For me, it was never a shock because I think when we first met in Mtembei, I did express my frustrations. And if you can go back to down memory lane, I did say that there was a handshake. However, it was crowd management or electorate management that was going to be done for over a couple of months to a level whereby we had to create situational ethics in a sense that we prepare a country to a different level of realignment. Because obviously we could see that there was a pseudo agreement between Kalonzo and and Ruto, but it wasn't working very well because it wasn't strong enough to help Ruto. And as soon as they took over, the issue of shareholding came in, and therefore Ruto was warned that there are only 2 shareholders. And we questioned the trips to Homa Bay by Murkomen. And more often than not, Murkomen told us yeye ni mtoto wa mkono wa baba, yeye ndiye aliletwa kasiasa na baba, and all these things were done in Homa Bay. And we kept on connecting the dots to form the line, but in a democratic space whereby denialism is the order of the day and the political blasphemy that somebody is always right, we were not allowed to venture into that. But the day has come eventually. And we are not here to thump our chest that we've been exonerated. No, the question is, where is Martha Karua left? And what is the next point when it comes to our brother Kikuyus? Are we going back to 42 against 1? And they should think about that seriously. We are not threatening them, but they must know that our biggest problem is not anybody. If there is anybody, we have a biggest problem is one person, one community. And in order to deal with that, we have to put our differences on the side. Then we get what? The leadership. And after the leadership, we will be able to deal with it.
Okay, I hear you, and I see where you're going with the argument.
It's not an argument, it's a reality.
Yeah, your chain of thought. I love how you're going with it. But let me bring you to what we had discussed with Mr. G. What do you think was really the pivotal role of one Museveni in the meeting that happened yesterday? What was his significance? Because yes, Mr. G.
Before you ask that question,
Museveni was viewed as a convict.
Yes, Mr. G.
Because the very people of the Republic of Kenya are against the so-called agreement between Ruto and Raila. In terms of, when you look at in terms of percentage, including me talking here, I am 100% against it. Yeah, but then we have to face the reality.
You are against it, but it is happening. Yes, Mr. G. Yes, Mr. G.
Take any pool at any time. Take any pool at any time. It doesn't need to be scientific, my friend. Go anywhere, any forum. 96% will be against it.
Exactly.
Yes, Mr. G.
Okay, before you ask a question, because there's a question I wanted to ask Alex, but there's a point that Alex has brought in. You know, the words from President himself, the words from Ruto, who say that our problem, you remember that topic? There's something that Alex has just brought in right now. I think that is talk. We can discuss it just a bit before we go on with another issue. Because remember, he's the same person ambaye President alisema kuwa we have to cling to power to deal with this issue. You remember that statement? Yeah. And that statement, what wanapoiangalia sana hiyo statement.
Our good friend Arol amekuwa na challenge. I don't know, Arol, try to activate your mic. You're in the studio, yes, but your mic I think both your mic and your camera are not activated, and I think equally your mic is low. If you can activate the two, it will be good to be in the studio. I see you in the backstage. Unfortunately, I can't add you until you activate that because uh, the activation key lies in you activating your camera or your mic for you to be able to access the show. Equally, you joining us this evening, thank you so much for staying tuned to Kenya News Link and being part of this great conversation happening here live. Thank you as well for subscribing and being part of this great channel that just started the other day. But man, oh man, are we making giant steps? A baby making steps in form of a giant. But thank you so much for making us number one. This is where all this happens. Thank you so much for making Kenya Newslink your home of choice. Good day, I see you. Asante sana, brother Benson, I see you. Club in Kereta, I see you. Asante sana kwa ujumbe wenyu na pia kwa kuparticipate kwa show. I love your sentiments and what you are saying hapo kwa comment section, and the many of you still watching us. All right. Now, that issue of there is a problem we have with a certain tribe. I don't know how I'll even talk about it because it's a dicey topic in the sense that one, um what happens, because here is a situation where Rigi G is still the deputy president. Is equally a situation where the president
In
still wants to
quotes,
go for a second
in
term.
quotes, in quotes. See, the problem is
Why do
that
you say in quotes? He's still the
no,
deputy president.
no, Jax, it has reached a
Yeah.
point. If we have to speak politics of deceit, then
Mm-hmm.
we will have to go through this in cycles and in cycles and in cycles and in cycles. The deputy president of the
Mm-hmm.
Republic of
Yes,
Kenya
yes.
is Ndindi Nyoro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He does direct business with the president. He has the ear of the president. As Rigiji is in Mombasa, Ndindi Nyoro is being sent into some, some high level engagements in some counties, and Rigiji is left while pulling in Nyeri and either Murang'a. Okay, if it's an international community, atapelekwa Cambodia and then come back. While Raila is somewhere else and Kalonzo is going somewhere else and the president is going somewhere else, the best they can do is to go solve what? Maneno ya busa na madawa ya kulevya. That's the best they can do to him.
Unamchomea lakini ni sawa.
No, I mean, just look at what is that. You see,
But go on. Go on, go
no,
on.
Jax, this is a very dicey issue, but I'm willing
Mm-hmm.
to risk. I'm willing to take a risk to say things that are unpalatable.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see already your body language shows me that you may not be ready to listen to some of those things.
As long as they don't interfere with the channel, I might listen. But if they do, I'll definitely cut you off. But go on.
They don't have to. Jax, the fight between the Kalenjins and the Kikuyu did not finish in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
The Kikuyus never went back to their farms.
Mm-hmm.
We have been towing this thing around.
Mm-hmm.
Na italipuka.
Mm-hmm.
Na ikilipuka italipuka vibaya sana. The people that are mad today that in a large extent that do not want Baba to go to the AU are our brothers from the mountain. And rightly so, even us, some Bantus who have interests in business, we are also afraid. So one leg is here, one leg is here. In as much as I'm in ODM, I also fear the repercussions that happened in Eldoret, in Kisumu, and other areas in 2007, because equally, we were affected as a community. You understand, Jakes?
Mm-hmm.
So, and some statements that have been made by these young politicians before the elections should be disturbing that either way, the seat will go to an ILOT for the first time. There is no Bantu running for the seat. So these things may not be popular in the mainstream media, but across our dining tables, people are talking about them, Jakes. Unfortunately. And they are affecting us. If you look today, the shockwaves, ripples effect throughout the country, that Baba could go for the AU seat. At least we forget a few days ago, people died. Just it started with a revolution. It went to a day with destiny. It went to bipartisan. It went to national dialogue. Jex, should we finish whereby we start saying that now Ruto should endorse Baba for a seat? How low should we go?
I don't know. I don't know if you have listened to the last clip I've played. There is a statement Raila Odinga has made that was very interesting, and it was among the last questions I was to ask Mr. G. But since you're here, we'll extend Kiasi. Think about it. One, Aisha Juma goes to Capitol Hill today.
Okay.
They bring the issue of two-third gender role. Why was it important for Aisha Juma to go there? Two, the NADCO report you're talking about, imeambiwa itashikanishwa. But this is what Raila Odinga says, nitaongea na Bwana Ruto. That statement reminded me of this famous statement, I will talk with my brother. And we were calling them the Ajek brothers. I will talk to my brother. We'll see what to do about it. Are we back there kabisa? Yani tuko tu huko kabisa, so deep that I just sink into some of us that these guys are already working together.
Jex, this script has been rewritten to suit the people of Kenya, but this time around, it has been very elusive to convince the Kenyans that this is the way we should go. Jex, I would like me and you to have a one-on-one so that I can tell you when the Bendera NDP went down, some of us cried. It was the saddest day in the politics.
LDP, the party for Raila Odinga.
NDP, the one that he fought after he got out of Ford Kenya and he went for a re-election. No, it was called what?
LDP.
No, NDP.
It was N, all right. That is what married Kanu.
Yes, okay. LDP was Liberal Democratic, that later on that was with what? With the Rainbow Coalition. Okay?
Okay.
So if I can go down memory lane, we have a lot of historicity that we need to draw back, that we can learn of what Dawa, Bwana Dawa, Makto did in order to bring these people together. But nevertheless, let's not go back there. The script has been rewritten several times to suit you and me, but ground imekata.
Okay.
So if you see the latest one, it ilikuwa like so fast. First of all, Baba is seen with Babu Win sitting somewhere alone. It was said Baba has endorsed Babu Win. Babu Win again goes with Gladys Wanga. Wanaenda wanafanya nini? They introduced the Homa Bay Investment Conference. Okay? And Babu Wino gives an epic speech. Later on, Gladys Wanga goes to primetime media, mainstream media. And we are lied to that Homa Bay was number 46, and all of a sudden a miracle has happened. It has come to be number 1, and therefore she becomes the best lady in the whole country. She's the miracle governor. Okay? I don't know where that comes from. Okay? Now Homa Bay has everything more than Kisumu is the best. And I'm not against Homa Bay, but things were being blown out of proportion. A few days later, we see Gladys Wanga Nakihika in front with the president during the governor's in Naivasha. A few days later, we see Ruto with Raila whether photos were, whether they were right or wrong, some people are disputing, I don't know. But then the next day again, you find them where? In Homa Bay. Is it by coincidence? This time they want to force that script. No, Jex, relax. Your body language doesn't want me to talk that. I can see.
No, I'm nakaa ndio nikusikize. Go on.
We are being forced into a script that we are not going to agree. You hate me or not, I'm part and parcel of the process of ODM. This is not how we are going to sell out ODM, that in a matter of days. Remember, everybody that today stands up in that country, who is who, was baptized and sanitized in ODM, including Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Nobody stands taller in that country ambaye hakukuwa kwa ODM at one particular time, including Kalonzo Musyoka. Now you want to tell me mtoto ameze baba? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see a possibility of a merger between UDA and ODM? It doesn't even cross people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jakes, we must preserve our sanctity. This is a shrine that is temporal, that we have a guardian that will come and go. But shrines do not move. Priests come and go. And we cannot get to a point we treat some priests to be, so wanahitaji infallible. They are pious, they are popes of politics, that we can allow them now to take a party that has taken roots for years. It's the classic moment of the Gandhis in India, whereby Nehru Gandhi, until today, Sonia Gandhi comes from Italy because she was married to Sijui Nani, and an Italian becomes the prime minister of India because she comes from the Nehru family. Selling of the soul. That's the same thing that has happened today in Britain. They have an Indian prime minister. And the West prepared very well that script that if Britain can have a foreign prime minister, Kenya can have a prime minister that is outside out of the country, or a president. And that script is being now used. It was started in Zambia when King Cobra died. A white man became a president for that country for 3 months. It was rejected. And it was one thought things that many people, if they knew what Pan-Africanism was in threat, I don't want to go back there. But today, as we sit down and we talk about these issues, very soon, the president of that country might not be even a citizen, because we are running in a trajectory that is very dangerous. So this issue of one person marrying a particular, we have personality cult politics. Either we stop it today or we allow it to continue, and then there is no need of having elections. Let's sit down in barazas. As Mungatana was saying, we call Pokomo elders and we have a deal, instead of wasting money to go to where? To elections.
Now, who stands? Who really stands to benefit with Raila's exit? Because when you look at it, those of us who are mourning and those of us who are celebrating, there is a thin line of celebration and there's a thin line of mourning. There are those politicians who have been perpetual using Raila Odinga for their own selfish interest, both in Azimio and equally in Kenya Kwanza. How? In Azimio, they use him to get their seat. All right. When you get a direct nomination from Raila Odinga and even he holds your hand during a rally and you get a party ticket, yeah, ODM, upate your certificate, you're almost home and dry. Kenya Kwanza equally have been using him in their advantage, because that is what they say, what many describe as Railaphobia. With his exit, I think I had asked this in the last show, with his exit, who really benefits? Because when you look at it, William Ruto says it's a win-win. It's a win-win. But who wins and who loses? And why why is it important that he really has to go to AU?
Jex, you're looking things from a local point of view that Yani, if we go that point of way, we are going to miss the mark. Now, let us look at the trio that is manning the politics of today in Kenya. In terms of money, it's Uhuru. Okay, well, in terms of controlling the electorate and the narrative, it is who? It is Raila. In terms of the tools of power, it is who? It is Ruto. Okay, but then again, when you look at the trio again, who since independence somehow, even as we speak today, in terms of posterity, he's closer to power than any other person. It remains to be Raila, because how her daughter was taken to Ayala with the UDA people voting to him man to man, including this lady that you saw today go to where? Baba's office. They voted for Winnie Odinga. And many people say, oh, Baba, Baba has been preparing Winnie Odinga. And if you see Alai's post when Alai had a beef with Baba for a couple of years ago, he always said that the person controlling ODM is Winnie Odinga. And for some reasons, they did say that Winnie has a beef with many people, even the way the campaign was carried, so on and so forth. Ruto has not reached a point whereby he can put his son or anybody in a position whereby with merits. And Raila did not put her daughter there. Her daughter has been vocal. If you see her interviews, she's well advanced and she suits that position. Okay? In terms of debate and in terms how she relates with people, Winnie Odinga is also her own shadow, not the shadow of his father. Nick cannot do that, neither Uhuru's sons. When they have big, small problems, Uhuru will turn out in their gates. Not Winnie. Not Winnie. Winnie will have to deal with those police peke yake. Unaelewa? So the social capital that Odinga has is more effective than right now than Uhuru na nani. And even if Raila was to go today, Mama Aida can stand and say, and I'm taking over ODM, and ODM will stand. Okay? If Ruto was to go right now, will UDA stand up? You've seen Jubilee struggle without help of Uhuru. So what I'm telling you that Raila stands out to gain too, in as much as you think that when you ask who stands out to gain, you know, you look at things that are just, unajua, and Uhuru told you during matanga ya Mtimama, and people are so quick to forget. Hii gazeti, hii karatasi, ni ya kwenda kwa choo ama kufunga nyama. Two things it can do best. But then there is something called corridors of power. You want to tell me, Jax, all of a sudden that Raila is being given 600 million to go all over Africa to campaign? Was it just an abrupt thing? Jax, let's be honest. So when Raila comes out and says that he has consulted adversely, those consultations did not take 1 week, 1 month. In order for your PA and your new group, the campaign machinery, to start to campaign the whole of Africa, we are not talking about Kenya anymore, Mr. Jax. It means that it's a high voltage campaign. So that's why I'm telling you that this thing is beyond us. The person that Raila will never lose completely the way you may think. It is a win-win situation for these two people. And if there is anybody who is going to lose this time around, you better look closer to the mountain. Where do we leave Martha Karua as we talk right now? Can you help me? Where does Martha Karua go?
But that is a question I've always avoided to ask for two reasons, because I have always tried to protect Azimio image. But now I think I have all the powers to ask this question. Martha Karua only showed up in Azimio, Mr. G, few months to the election, few months. In any case, she was working with Akina Kiunjuri, Moses Kuria. They were the three. You remember? We even saw them almost saying. Actually, Moses Kuria said, "If you want to talk to the mountain, the person to talk to is who? Is Martha Karua." One day, I think we were with Alex, where we were looking at another expose that Kimani Shungwa said up to the few days before announcing the running mate wa Kenya Kwanza, they were still quoting Martha Karua. Up to the day, almost days to that. So my question is, has she been a loyal Azimio person? That has always been a question I've always wanted to ask. Was she really in it because she believes in Azimio? Or was she really in it because maybe she looked at Baba and maybe she felt we could have a Magufuli Suluhu moment? Sorry to say so. But let me begin with you, Mr. G. What do you make of Martha Karwan? Because even of late, she has been missing in action, in as far as Azimio is concerned. What do you make of her?
You know, Jex, Martha Karua has a stand. And she's the one woman ambaye alisimama akasema he doesn't recognize this president. Why? Kwa sababu aliiba kura. He doesn't believe in what happened in election in IBC. You see, so alisema kuwa hawa walichukua mkate ambao si yao, and that's why he was saying in maandamano tunaenda State House tuchukue mkate wetu, na akawa anasema they have to open server. Wakishafungua server tukapata kwa sisi tulishinda, we are taking back the whole loaf. Hakuna mambo ya nusu mkate. Those are the words ambao Martha Karua alikuwa anaongea. So Martha Karua is one woman that he believes in what he has a stand on what she believes in. So sasa kukosa kumuona, one thing because of this medical report, to her there was some issue that she believed ilifaa iongelewe pale, but what happened, ikakuja mambo ya opposition seats, ikakuja vitu zingine ambazo hata hazieleweki ndio zinawekwa kwa medical report. Akasema mimi sikubaliani na hii. And another thing ni kuwa yeye haku expect kuwa itakuwa rahisi hivi watu wataacha tu maandamano alafu sasa life iendelee kuenda tu vile inataka. Yeye alikuwa anataka if we go for State House, twende State House, which never happened. So there's some factors ambazo zilimdisappoint. That's why unaona haonekani sana because of some issues ambazo kubaliana nazo kwa Azimio. Azimio has to put his house in order. Kuna problem in Azimio. And that's why I told you that hata baba akitoka sahi, Azimio is dead. So for this 1 year akiwa na campaign, he has to be wise to make a decision when hii kitu itaran. But akitoka tu sahi, Azimio imekufa kabisa, kila mtu anaenda njia zake. But I wanted to comment on this issue. This guy amekuwa hapa sahi rebel, aache utoto. Akianza kuongea mambo ya degree kwa comment, hiyo ni mambo gani ambayo anaongea? Akuja kwa panel tuongee, achana na hiyo kuja anaongea kwa panel kwa group mambo ya degree.
Jana Kenya River. Jana Kenya River. Now naona umeanza kukasirika na comment section. Now same question to you, Mr. Alex, that before election, Martha Karua was almost an undecided voter. In fact, she was quoting, she was the free agent. Mara kwa One Kenya Alliance, kidogo kidogo. You know, we would see her almost avoiding zile meetings the G7 were going. Yenye tulikuwa tunaona Gideon Moi, Charity Ngilu, Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga, Wycliffe, yeye ndo anaitwa Mbetsa, I think, Oparanya. Musalia was there, Weta was there, but Karua was never there until the tail end. And that's one element most Azimio people refuse to remember. Even Mr. G, you see how he has answered. He has not gone to before. He has only gone to after, after the election of denying the results, refusing to acknowledge William Ruto as the president and all that. Those ones are after. But before, there is another chain of story behind it that many of us at times fail to look at. She was almost behaving like Alonso. At one moment, she's not fully decided. What do you think made her become the running mate? Is it because maybe she was poised by Uhuru that, you know what, this will be a good thing for you, achana na William Ruto, nini nini, this is better for you, and eventually she became the running mate? Because even during that time, NDC, whatever, we saw Uhuru kind of being the one really pushing for the running mate slot. What do you make of Karua when you think about it without now looking from election point of view? There's a meal in totality.
You're asking a question in a very difficult way. I think you want to answer it, but you have a
I don't
position
want.
that you are
I
the
want you
moderator.
to.
You are not in a position to say what you want. You are going. Let me just become the moderator so that you just utoe tu hiyo kitu kwa roho. But before I become the moderator, I
No,
give
no,
you.
no. I don't.
Let me tell you one thing.
I have to
There are
stick
three
my lane.
matrix.
I have to stick to my lane.
No,
Mm-hmm.
there are three matrix playing here simultaneously,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
those three matrix, both of them, all the three are very cardinal.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, Uhuru was not in the Rainbow Coalition government. So the heir apparent at that particular time, the Iron Lady, was Martha Karua when she became the minister. After Murungaru came out, was it Murungaru or who? And she became the minister for what? Constitutional Affairs. And that was a very powerful seat because remember, at that particular time, we were also negotiating for the new constitution. So she became the face of everyday politics in Kenya. Daily. I mean, she was a powerful woman. And then Uhuru on the other side, they were with the former Chako seller, this guy who became the minister for defense, another clueless guy from the mountain, but he had supported DP for a very long time, and therefore Kibaki had to bring him in from Kanu and became a minister for defense for a while before eventually he died. Now, so Martha Karua had the center of power within the Kibaki administration because Kibaki was sick at that particular time. And Kimunya was also having his part the other side. So there was constant gabble between these two. And eventually, Martha Karua had to resign with Mugatana. In now comes the Guinness Book of Record when the first opposition leader of any country endorsed the sitting president. Nobody wants to talk about that. We want to sanitize Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and forget about that. A deal has been made. Martha Karua out, okay? For some reason, she's a woman. She doesn't have money. And she was quoted in, and Nani akakuwa quoted in, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta akaambiwa, you do this, and we will be able to do this, because the matrix was very difficult going to 2007 election. Now, from there, now, there's another thing that happened at that particular time that many people don't want to put it into equation because that thing also came to affect us. And that thing always affects the European politics. But the Kenyan politics, it's a place we don't want to even think about because once we put that into perspective, inaanzanga kuleta upuzi mwingine, but today I will say it. Now, Kimunya started dating Sabina Chege. They ended up marrying when he was the minister for what? Brought him from the media. For some reason, wakaachana. Walipoachana, enter Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta because Sabina has said it openly several times. So running to Azimio when we formed it, because remember, Azimio was formed immediately after, Azimio was a frustration from the BBI damnation. We lose to Nora and we knew we were losing, so we set up a meeting in where? In Nakuru. We formed Azimio. Okay. In Azimio, when we came in, the Mount Kenya started bargaining earlier and they wanted to swallow us. And us, we were also vigilant. We knew what the Mount Kenya Foundation wanted. First of all, they negotiated for the governorship for Nairobi. And they said Uhuru is too young. With this guy, Tumbo Kubwa Atwoli, they said he's too young to retire. he can't go home. And therefore we left him to be the patron of what? Of Azimio. Now, Uhuru wants to bring in Sabina Chege to become our running mate. Baba looks at it, it's a difficult matrix that, and you know, if people could only ruminate and understand what was going at that particular time, because we were fighting for Kalonzo. But somehow Uhuru looked like he was supporting Kalonzo, but he wanted Sabina Chege to be in there for his own personal reasons and Mount Kenya, because she was an easier target. She had a soft belly that they could target. However, the diehards in ODM said, okay, you put Uhuru to be at the top. Then the running mate, akuwe ni Sabina Chege, it's going to be difficult. Now, Baba quotes another person. They negotiate. So levelizes it. But now the matrix that was difficult is, how do we keep Gideon Moi in? So the political mortgage came in as a result of that. Martha Karua, being a politician too, she understood that the politics of Kirinyaga had eluded her. With Ngirishi and Nani fighting, she had no chance too. So as a politician, what do? She took the honor, she came in. But was her heart really there at that particular time? No. But when she came in, she came with all her heart and supported Baba. That is what matters. And remember, in politics, there are no permanent enemies. There are permanent interests. So let's talk
All
about
right.
Yeah.
Now, I love how you have answered, how you have concluded. She came in with all her heart. What has changed? She seems to not hot, not cold. She's there, you know. The words from Mr. G. She wanted us to go to State House. She wanted the servers open. She really was the voice that at times we would really want to listen to at times, because it would give us the direction that Azimio would be taking. Now she's not doing so. And once tutamwona kwa meetings. I don't know what she's doing with with her Kenya party. We are yet to see her say she's going for massive recruitment, as Akinamunya did, as Kalonzo did. What could be happening to her? Because you asked a very rightful question. What happens to her in the event Ruto and Raila work together? What happens to her? Okay, what happens to Kalonzo? Kalonzo is trying now to be the replacement of Raila Odinga. We even saw him the other day address a meeting in Naivasha.
Jex, no.
Mhm.
No. Jex, no. I think Jex, sometimes tunakatanga kuangalia politics ya ukweli, tuangalie what is happening
Mhm. Mhm.
and tusaidiane.
Mhm.
You see, it is the same thing that Wetangula, Mudavadi, Kalonzo did last time during the inauguration of Baba as the people's president. Wakaanza kudanganya, oh, he had a Nigerian number, everybody saying whatever they wanted to say so that they could not attend it. Because the two of them were lawyers and they knew that it was wrong for them to go there. So eventually, everybody gave their own reasons which were not valid and they were not true. And these are people who had gone even to Homa Bay a day earlier or a week earlier. Was it the last week before Baba? And swore that they will be there come themselves. Now what happens thereafter? What's after is they did not come in. Kalonzo had been negotiating for a very long time with Ruto. If you see the core people within himself, this man called Mutula Kilonzo, it's a UDA mongrel and he has always worked with Ruto. The problem is how to switch him to Ruto and where do you live, Wiper? So they also need a vehicle, but you can't move with Wiper to UDA. UDA will swallow Wiper, and therefore Wiper will become what? So they also need money for what? Political what? Campaign funds. So they are having a share, but yet they are all of them here. So don't say that he wants to be endorsed. Kalonzo also went to State House the other day for handshake. Okay, but it's going too late. They always go too late, but they don't have enough capital knowledge or social capital that they can bring forth that can help Ruto stay in power as long as he wants. That is the problem. They command a region that is not national. And Ruto right now knows that he wants a country, and that is why his speech in Homa Bay was critical. We want a win-win situation. That is a political statement. He doesn't want a win-lose situation whereby Kalonzo wins, but for him, he also wins only the lower eastern, or whatever it's called, and the other country becomes hostile to him. As we talk today, the strip of the coastal, Ruto is not doing very well. Baba went to Bungoma one day, Ruto had to stay there 6 days. So Ruto understands through the intelligence that he's struggling. So to whom he rather go to? Is it Kalonzo or Raila? So don't say that Kalonzo wants to inherit Baba. There's nothing Kalonzo can inherit. Kalonzo cannot inherit me unless he inherits you. Take it to the bank.
I still don't have a party. He can as well inherit me. After
So
Mr. G, now that Mr.
what I
G.
will try to explain and then we go. Let me
Yeah.
explain what happened here. Now,
Mm.
the whole issue, if you put it in a perspective. Now, today I've taken my ODM hat off. If you look at what I'm saying,
Mm.
I've taken my Kenyan hat off, my Kisi hat off. I'm analyzing politics. As a person who will be a strategist, looking at the interests of the three men who are controlling the politics of Kenya. But now when it comes to my own interests again, I'll be saying something different from what I have said. So you must approach things from the truth. Then you start doing something called spin doctoring to achieve your own results that you want. You understand?
Yeah.
So as we sit today, Kalonzo will not easily inherit Baba's side easily the way he thinks. If you saw the electric cheering of our brothers from the lakeside to Ruto today, and then you hear the rhetoric, those are two diametrical. Nobody remembers any sin that Ruto has ever committed. He was sanitized to the core. Take a political microscope today. Ruto is a saint. So to finish,
That reminds me. That reminds me. I don't know if you heard how Gladys Wanga addressed the PS for say Omolo CS for internal security. How he addressed him, he called him the son of our soil. He praised William Ruto. He almost went to the level of saying, she went to the level of saying, one of our son, one of a child from our region. No, thank you so much. What do you make of such sentiments?
and I'm sorry for the domineering today because I've been keeping quiet and a lot is in my heart. And I've said this script has changed for a very long time, but they didn't know how to execute it. The first script that did not work is when Ruto went to Luo Nyanza for development. Do you remember how Gladys Wanga received Ruto? Do you know how many bulls Gladys Wanga gave to Ruto? Did that script work very well? Do you remember us making noise that Orengo had called Ruto His Excellency 13 times? When we were still going through Mandamano. This script has kept on changing. Now, let me ask you your question now, in your normal sense. Jaka Kimba, Karoli Omondi, Eliud Owalo, these are people who have worked closely with Baba over the years. Closely. If there was any graft, and I'm using the word loosely, if you want to beat me up. This is politics. If there was any graft, If there was anything money changing hands, those were the people who could do it. Is it by accident or by design that all of them today are working for Ruto? People should ask themselves a lot of questions. Politics is not for weak-minded people. Jakes have come to know right, and I'll tell you without fear. If I get to politics today, I'll be worse than Simbarat. I'll be a crook, I'll be a grabber, and sometimes I will not think. I will never say the truth. Because these virtues don't help anywhere in politics.
But now, because our internet never forgets, if you are quoted, will you deny this? Are you now of sound mind?
Do Kenya remember?
Are you of sound mind now? So that when that day will quote you, you won't say that you have been misquoted.
Do Kenyans
He's saying
remember?
this of sound mind.
Tell me, do
good
Kenyans
health.
remember?
Kenyans don't remember, but at times we vote with emotions.
Don't use the word but, say however. But is a strict word that people will remember. However is a loose word that people forget.
All right. Let's use those two interchangeably then. Mr. G, you have been quiet for some minutes. Now let me ask you, Mr. G, so that Alex as well can take a breather. If you remember correctly, the handshake government was, of course, we never had a handshake government. The handshake working agreement, arrangement, we saw Akina Gladys Wanga had some serious parliament seats. Are we likely to see now a change in parliament where Akina John Bahadi gets some interesting position, and eventually, sasa hata we have been seeing them work out on the housing levy. What happens now? Will we have a total capture by William Ruto in all spheres, both opposition, parliament, judiciary, even the church, everywhere? What do you make of such, if that was to happen?
You know, Jix, that's why I told that I'm saddened with what is happening. Kwa sababu, as I told you that this guy ambaye ni Ruto is a guy ambaye tulikuwa tunasema damu yake, mkono yake inanuka damu, mkono yake inanuka dambi. Ni mtu ambaye hata hatuwezi simama naye kwa debate. And now he's the person we are crying atusaidie kupata kura. You know, I have listened to what Alex has spoke, and it just reminded me of what Nicole Mikavel said, that a prince who wants to keep his authority must learn not to be good. I'm trying to understand that word, but bado sijaielewa vizuri. It should not be good. Those are the words ambao Mikavel used. In our politics today, I think the interest ambao Alex ameongea, that's the main thing ambayo ina happen. Somebody will not fight for you, but he'll fight for his own interest. So even unaongea, you know, as much as tunataka help from this guy ambayo ni president, we are not going even to expose the wrong things ambazo zinaenda kwa happen, kwa sababu tunafaa kuonekane kuwa ni wazuri kwake, so that he can campaign for us, so that he can help us kupata hiyo kiti ambayo ni ya AU. And as I just told you, mambo mengi itajificha sana. Is either maybe kama baba ataanguka akuja tena aanze kufight again, but as long as sasa unaanza kuona watu kama kina nani wanaanza kumwendea, watu kama kina huyu mama from Mombasa anaanza kwenda paka kwa ofisi yake capital, then the things are, yeah, that means that those things will happen. This is just a handshake whereby sasa tutaanza kuona people interacting vile ilikuanga na kina Uhuru. Na sijui kwa nini baba hizi pia learn sometimes na hizi vitu. Si nilikwambia pale mwanzo kuwa in Jubilee government makosa yote, dhambi zote ziliwekwa kwa mgongo yake, and again this one pia itekwa kwa mgongo yake pia.
Now let's try to think even slightly deeper. When you look at the whole story, how it's now unfolding, Uhuru has been going all over. Others were trying to read in between the lines and say, hey, probably anajaribu kuendorse mtu mwingine. Uhuru has come out clear and say, yeye ni Azimio damu, Azimio kila mahali. And because we don't have a footage of him endorsing anyone else, my question now to you two is this: will we have a trio matrix where now we have Uhuru, Raila, Ruto working together? Of course, somehow some of them must come out to work together to support Raila Odinga be the AUC chair. Is this the union that is about to happen? Is this how William Ruto, Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta finally pair and create a trio matrix where the three now become a force that it will be interesting to see what happens. Let me begin with you. Mr. G. What do you think? Can do we have a likelihood where now Uhuru, because you remember the other day, Uhuru came out. We saw him in Tanzania. We have been seeing him all over. He has gone several to Uganda. Kidogo kidogo ndio hawa watu wawili tumewaona wametokea Uganda. Is it possible that the three can come together, and that will be the matter of all coming together, if that is anything to say in English? Let me start with you, Mr. G. What do you see the likelihood of the three coming together?
They can come together. Kwa sababu gani? One factor ni kuwa Uhuru is a businessman. And some of his business ziko pia Uganda. But tumeona kama nani akiwa anamfrustrate the president ambaye ni Ruto, amekuwa akimfrustrate sana, but I have been listening to his statement ambayo ni Uhuru. Hakuna mahali Uhuru amesema hizi fanya kazi na Ruto. In fact amekuwa kwa media akisema kuwa wakitaka advice wakija nitawapatia, kumaanisha these are people ambao wakiamua kusettle their differences they can still work together. Hakuna kitu inawazuia, kwa sababu amesema mara mingi sana kuwa mimi wakitaka kuwasaidia advice nitawasaidia. Hajakuwa na ugumu wote, even though kumekuwa na hizo Ruto ndo amekuwa na uchungu mingi sana, mpaka anaenda anatuma magunsa au anatuma magunsa anaenda kuchoma shambake, wanaiba makondo zake, but still hajasema kuwa he hate the government ama he hate this president sana hivyo. No, why? Kwa sababu he just trying to protect his business. He's a businessman, and at the moment anasema kwa anataka kusema kivyake his business, this is the government ambayo iko on the day, the president is another person, ataharibu business zake. So for him to have a way in his business, lazima he'll come closer to this guy. So akiamua kuwa wanatoa differences, he will work with him tena vizuri sana, hakuna kitu tamzuia. And Baba will work with the president kwa sababu he want hiyo kiti ya AU, and this is what is happening right now. Paka anasema kwa wacha nitaongea na Uhuru, nitaongea na Ruto, hii kitu tu connect pamoja na NADCO report, kitu ambacho haifai kabisa. Baba bado anaongelea vitu kama hizo. So these guys, because of the interest, they will work together.
Alex, what do you see? Do you see the three coming together to create another interesting force?
Never. Because unfortunately, the ultimate desire of any president in the world is to have absolute power and govern the country that he wants. The ultimate desire of a president that just retired is regrets of things that he should have done that he never did. And Uhuru has a lot in his plate, starting with the judiciary, going to the agreement that they had in Arambe House with Raila Odinga, going to the BBI, and so on and so forth. If you look at Pauline Joroge's post today, is Uhuru at a particular point told his community that it must be a win-win situation. There will come a time they will not be in power, and a winner takes all. That's when they will realize that power is transient. His people rejected him, including Martha Karua, who said, Ondoka utoke uende atukutaki. That was the clarion call from the Mount Kenya. Atoke aende. Today, Ruto said the same thing in Homa Bay. It should be a win-win situation. Now, let me use an analogy that might be for adults, because it's 18 years and older here. Threesome does not work.
But there are people who crave for it. There are people who crave for it.
One gets more sweetness. No, allow me to finish my thought, friend, because you want to cut me. One what? What animal? One must prevail.
All right.
Allow me. It's politics and it's power.
I
Power gets
understand. I
redeemed
understand.
works
Go,
together, my
go.
friend. And even religion works together. So sometimes we must borrow analogies. So this issue
All right.
of
Go.
threesome cannot work. The issue is you must get one lover and stick with them. At the right time, kick them off, divorce them, get another one. So
Okay.
Uhuru has nothing here. He had his time, which was 10 years. Did he use it rightly? No, because he was one of the few presidents since the history of Kenya that was supported by the entire country, that he could have given us the BBI, could have delivered the extra constituencies. You know what, Kikuyu walikataa extra constituencies, walikuwa wanakuja kupewa sijui karibu 14 for no apparent reason. They could have controlled the parliament of Kenya today. Wakakataa. Silver platter. One man, one vote, 1 shilling. Wakakataa. So we have no regrets. So when you are a president, you must deliver something knowing very well that we are in a tribal country, that when you get out, the other person that is coming in might change your policies and your people might suffer. The ultimate goal of William Samoei Ruto, unfortunately, is to rule the country after 2032. Jex, 2027 is done, gone, sealed. As we sit today, Baba knows who are the commissioners, Ruto knows who are the commissioners, Uhuru does not know. Kalonzo has no clue. That's how bad it is, unfortunately.
That reminds me. Do we have a
So if
politician?
anything we are talking now is 2032 and beyond.
The reason as to why we don't have an IBC.
Let's humble ourselves to a point that we see that, look, unless we go back to the drawing line and say, look, is there anything we can redeem in 2027? Yes, there is a thin line. But the way we are playing our politics, tunachapa ya 2032.
Now that reminds me, and I'm going to ask you this question because it really baffled me the other day. During the housing levy, 149 members of parliament were missing. All right. You know, you vote in several ways. You can even vote by abstaining. Is it possible? Is it possible? Because of all this, they wanted it to pass, but create a smart way, all right, of having it sail through without really causing a storm, saying, oh, Azimio may join government. Let them be upset. 149 is not a small number, all right? If they were present, they would have tilted the scale in either side they chose to support, but they chose to abstain, or rather, not even be part of it. Let me begin with you, Mr. G. Is this the beginning of us seeing Parliament voting in ways that are very strange, but therein lies in a hidden message that probably hizi stories zishaanza. The working relationship between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza zishaanza chini ya maji. At one point, if you remember Alex correctly, they even said nani, this guy, the whip, aliweza kuwa convince with money or whatever means he was able to use, he was able to convince some Azimio guys not to attend. What do you make of that kind of tactic? Even them walking out, I think it was just a charade. There's nothing much they were doing.
No, it may not be just abrupt evil. Kwa sababu the walking out, these people they told us that huwa kuna vene huwa wanafaa kudiscuss pale kwa parliament. You see, whether in parliament they're there to give idea, to discuss on an idea, and on a motion they agree to disagree, ama they disagree to agree, and then they come up with one solution. but wakiwa pale tuliambiwa kuwa even if they raise their hands, even they try anything, wananyimwa because they are Azimios, na hii ni kitu ambayo ishapitishwa na president mwenyewe. So what I'm saying ni kuwa it may not be that fast atataza kufanya kitu haraka, because when walikuwa naongea ni kama kutakuwa na maandamano very soon. When our MPs walikuwa naongea ni kama kutakuwa na maandamano very soon. So me what I'm saying ni kuwa maybe the way siku zinaendelea kwenda ndio things zitaanza kuunveil sasa baadaye, kwa sababu kwa sasa hii I think the parliament still bado the Azimio team bado wako na ile wameshikilia kuwa no, things are not right, and it's true, things are not right in parliament, and they're trying to defend the mwananchi, they're trying to be on the side of mwananchi, but now the problem is that now the leaders wameanza kuja pamoja, which means by the time watakuwa wameingiliana wote, then they'll just have to change. But still kuna ile that element ya mtu kukataa kwanza, yeah, si watu watakuja that abruptly mara moja tuanze kupinga hiyo kitu. Wataendelea kupinga hivyo kwa sababu wanajua kwa ni kitu inakuja kuaffect wananchi wa chini.
I have asked that question. I have asked that question, and I think Alex is already getting what I'm going to. After that voting, Raila Odinga is yet to speak about it. In fact, he's on record saying, I came up with this housing issue. I know how to go about it. Ruto should come to me. All right? In a smart way, he was saying, in fact, he said, iki to see mbaya. Maybe we just need to look at it and do it in this way. Then you end up getting 149 MPs failing to attend parliament and voting. Alex, what do you make? Are these things coincidence? Ama kuko na more than meets the eye?
Unajua, Jex, you need to know this. What is by partnership? By partnership is take and give. There are contentious issues within people's manifestos that we disagree with.
Yes.
And also we agree with. First of all, you start with what you are able to agree with. Then you put on the file. For instance, whatever that was agreed in the NADCO report was about the IBC commissioners and ABCD. And then there are things that you can agree on, but you leave them on the periphery, not because they are difficult. They become the bargaining chip for later on. That you say, okay, tutakunyongeza hii kidogo, tutapea ugali sosa ama chai sosa. Kwa Waluya ni chai sosa. Wakina
Mr. G.
Chai sosa. So you don't take them completely out of the board. Unaelewa? Out of the chopping board. Now, in the NADCO report, many people did not understand is that we left a lot of things hanging so that we can be give and take. So there's this contentious issue that eventually it's going to be the brainchild. Hinga was taken from South Africa by Raila Amolo Odinga to come to this country to do affordable housing. So that is, and that's why I'm telling you, every person that truly is working for Ruto today has been sanitized, elevated, made through ODM. If that does not come within your mind very well like Penny, and understand that it's ODM that is in power.
Penny Nyagaka is still in Kenya.
Okay?
Penny Nyagaka is still in Kenya, and anatesa hapo kwa group, but anyway,
let me finish my thought. Okay. So then
Go ahead.
You may be in a position
that
you do not understand probably what is taking in effect. What Ruto is trying to do is to make sure that these things do not go to the credit of Raila Amolo Odinga. And that is why he's changing names. Okay? But the brainchild of all these things is Baba and the Rutos when they were together and they wanted to form a government in 2007. You understand? So, so this issue you are saying that no, they've come to a point whereby Baba's issues will prevail. However, they will not be written like in Baba Care, the way Baba wanted it to be written in Baba Care. Neither will it be what? Ruto Care, itakuja shift, ama shift, depending on your language on how you say sh and s. Okay? So that is among the other things that we must agree. Secondly, there is the issue of Ruto knows very well that, and this was the hardest thing that hit the technocrats when it came now to governing Kenya since independence. You can wish them away, you can shy them away, but Luo's technocrats are not people you can do away with and govern that country. They are part and parcel of the morsel that comes from the bone, that utapata you are having that jaw, umemaliza nyama yote, lakini uko ndani, you are trying to get the bone marrow out of it. So for him to successfully govern this country to the next generation and leave it carefully to the next generation, he has to deal with people that he did not like. For instance, as one particular time, it's Emilio Kibaki who said, I wish Orengo was never on that part. He loves him so much. I wish he could have been on our side. He could have been a very good minister in this department. That is a sitting president confessing. Okay? So it's the same way for me. I wish that Michuki was part of ODM for a very long time because he was an effective leader. So what you see and you've asked is true. Some of these things we are going to give and take and give. Tutafika by katikati, and by partnership we will work where it works. Where ambayo ita work, we will leave it another parliament to come.
Now, there's another element I want to ask you, and you have talked about them, but umeiguzia tu kitoka. What happened to Mount Kenya Foundation? And I don't know if you saw yesterday's newspaper. I think we'll look at it in the morning, where some of these guys who are close to Raila Odinga, one way or another, wamemtoka tu pole pole in a soft way. We even saw who was citizen akienda at the State House, among many other things. The other day we saw huyu wa Equity akikuwa na Raila Odinga kule Mombasa. Kidogo kidogo ndo hizi stories za AU. What do you make of Mount Kenya Foundation?
Let me say it quickly, and then Mr. Jet, I think, is better off to say it because we discussed it in another forum. You know, you can't wish the Mount Kenya wealth away easily. When it comes to the building of a nation or the wealth of a nation, it's not based on agrarian revolution. Sorry for that. So,
this is agrarian revolution.
Yeah, it's agrarian revolution. We are not even in fourth industrial revolution. Okay. So what happens is the wealth of a nation is based on the capital market and based on the assets that a country has that it can sell and buy quickly in terms of liquid form, and it can exchange that currency quickly in order either to assist the country or in order to sell the country. For instance, they can decide to take their money to offshore, and what happens? We destabilize our currency right away. So when it comes to banks, majority of bank owners in Kenya are Kikuyus. The Kalenjin started a bank called KREP. I don't know if you're old enough to know, or post office. I remember it was another one. Unapewa kakitabu fulani kanafanana hii popcorn. Unafungua hivi, unaandika. I think Mr. Gizo ni zilikuanga vitu za mamboch walikuwa na, and I'm sorry to use that name. I'm not using it in a wrong way or derogatory. I'm saying that kulikuwa na kitabu ulikuwa unaenda unaweka pesa yako kwa post office, later on it became post bank. And KREP was also operating from that point of view. But when equity came to the market, you saw what it did to the country. Equity revolutionized the way banking was done. Equity was the first to work with M-Pesa. Mwangi became a genius. Oigara became a genius when he merged with M-Pesa and worked with Equity to make sure that the banking sector of Kenya goes to the front. The credit unions, which are SACCOs, by the way, Mwalimu Sacco in Kisii became one of the best SACCOs or credit unions in the world at one particular time, because Joe Nyaga, who was the cooperative minister, also did what was right. So the banking sector as a whole is being held like this by the Kikuyus. The insurance industry, you remember this same guy that you're talking of, the media, his son was one of the biggest insurers of not only Kenya, but East Africa. The one that died in a Lamborghini at night he was driving, whether he was drunk or not. But they own the insurance company. Wachana hii ya Amaco ambayo inapata government. We are talking clean business. Okay? And many people think that insurance ni ya gari, nini ni ya healthcare peke yake. We have marine insurance. We have airplane insurances. We have some insurances that you have, industrial insurances, commercial, industrial, complex insurances, reinsurances. These are aids to trades that are very complex. Uliza Mr. G coming from the background of shipping and nini. Marine insurance is so expensive. Cargo insurance is so expensive. Within the complex of shipping and whatever, they have so many kinds of insurances, all of them being held by what? The Kikuyu community. When it comes to the stock exchange, the capital markets, Nairobi Stock Exchange, I swear to you, 97% is held up by the Kikuyus. When it comes to industrial banks, you know, wakati tutapata msaada, si ati tunaenda tunapewa check, tunakuja tunaweka Kenya Commercial Bank, ama tunaikimbisha wapi? Tunaikimbisha Central Bank of Kenya. There is a process. And the people who do that are mostly Kikuyus. Now, when you bring now Mount Kenya Foundation in, then there's another guy who taught me something that I had to go and read for a very long time to understand. There's something called new money and old money. And this is something we must talk about. Now, it used to be, old money used to be people with industries, manufacturing factories, ABCD, like Machandaria, who used to have like the biscuits and so on and so forth. But today, there is many businesses that you can do without setting up a factory. Okay, they can be black or hidden businesses, whichever they can be. But now the new money center is not based on what used to be. And the effacing of the Mount Kenya is going to be slow but steady. And we are going to have a new center. It's like in the US traditionally, we used to have people with chain stores. Unapata Naivas, iko Kisii, iko kila mahali. But then when the capital markets came in, the venture markets, the blue chips, and also so forth, we have young men from Harvard University sitting in the helm of their bedrooms with underwears on and only coats here, and they're doing business. And they're making money. They don't employ a lot of people. So Mount Kenya must know that Kenya is also going through a reformation, that where they used to control, they can no longer control. Their time is up. New money is emerging. And that money center is where Ruto and his people have put their bet on. And fortunately, it's also tied with a clandestiny of a world evilness that sometimes it's looked, we can call it wash, because that is how these people make money. If you look at truly like people like the British people, when they started the offshore banking, is that they legalized people to have illegal money that can be put somewhere, but it can't be touched. Unaelewa? And therefore, they were also not doing the clean business. So what I'm saying is that the old money of Mount Kenya is enough. They are not going to make money anymore. For example, this guy for Citizen, he was told the era where you have been given monopoly to advertise peke yako in the country is gone. And Matiang'i opening the digital platform like this, now people can come and give you advertisements here. Are you going to say no? So he doesn't enjoy the monopoly. In fact, today as we are talking, more people get news from us than they get from Citizen lately. So why should he be given the advertisement? So the world has changed. So you will see their
All
way of
right.
living.
There's this guy who is in with us, who is equally a friend and a foe at the same time. When he's a good guy, he's a good friend. Wakati mmekasirikiana anaweza kufanya hadi hiyo ngozi ya ndizi unamchapa nayo vibaya sana. Jafolo, I'm sure you are in. How are you?
I am gone. I'm not debating that guy. I'm gone.
Just one moment, relax. Just
No,
one
no, no.
moment, relax.
We have, there are
Listen,
questions we don't
relax.
have. At your
Just
own
one
peril,
moment.
bring that
Relax.
person. At your own peril,
Relax.
and you know we don't give threats. We promise
Calm
you.
down. Calm down. Now, yes, Japolo, what do you say?
What do you want me to talk about? I was just coming to contribute.
Now, I want to talk. There's something you were saying before you left, and it was a very interesting point. And equally about, for example, there's this issue of Ida Odinga endorsing Mbadi, and this other guy, what do you call this minority leader? Opio Wandai. Yes. Opio Wandai being endorsed by Raila's brother. What do you make of the two?
I think if Raila goes to AU, they will merge a new leader, whether it's Babu Eno or I don't know, Sifuna or whatever. I don't think whoever is endorsed by Raila Odinga, especially Ida Odinga or whoever that was, will, there are people who've earned their stripes within the ODM party. But I was more interested in what you said when it came to the reason why you found it very funny that there were 149 MPs that didn't vote for that Ninio. They conveniently didn't show up for that voting for the housing bill, which I think was also, I think I mentioned it in my whatever piece. Yes, Jakes. It's unusual, and I agree with you in the way you ask it. I think you suspected there was something there. It happened that, it's a way of the ODM or Azimio, without being accused of working with the government who are unpopular, for them to choose not to show up, okay, for it to pass. Because what I sub votes, whether you come in or not, and you mentioned unaweza ukavote in absentia, okay, and they did not. So yeah, obviously they wanted it passed. But yeah, and lastly, I don't know why Alex left. We don't have to debate. We can share ideas.
No, it's well. Let's focus on the show.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about what he was talking about, the capital markets and real economy. The capital markets, stock market, blue chip, whatever, these are just gambling, basically. The real wealth of a country comes from industry. Real industry is the how much you can produce, how much minerals you can get from a country. If you have gold, that's why they say Congo is the richest country in the world, because it's a fertile land for farming. It has a lot of minerals, gold, copper, whatever the case is. So what Congo is only missing is, actually they don't miss it. They have the industry, the people, the human resource that can actually help. They just don't have the equipment to take it out from the ground and trade it with other countries. The problem is that these other countries, these French and whoever else, they come in and extract that gold using the people and paying it for that. But that's the real industry, and that's the real wealth of a country, not this blue chip capital markets that we are meant to be. We are told here. So that's something I just wanted to
to correct my friend Alex. And regarding banking, there's something called the central bank system, which if you read, the Argentina is trying to get rid of it. They're trying to get out of it. It's a way that most countries are getting out of, because central banks, they print money, and most of them are usually not owned by the country itself. Even Kenya, the Central Bank of Kenya is not owned by Kenyans. I know most people think it is. It is actually owned by foreigners. If you look at the constitution, the central bank, the parliament cannot even tell the central bank to show their books, open up their books and show their transactions. And this is what a lot of, it's just like the Federal Reserve in America. It's not American bank, it's a foreign bank. But anyway, I won't go into that because that's a topic for another day. I know you want to focus on these two lovely gentlemen that went to see Museveni. Yes, Jakes, back to you.
Yeah, now when you look at all this, when you look at Mbadi's, and I'm asking you because I know you come from the region, are they the rightful people to really, do they have the stamina to go the walk that Raila Odinga has gone? Because he has not been baked in one day. He has been baked over time. Some love him, some hate him in equal measure, but he has really withstood the test of time. The new crop, are they able to really marshal up the charisma, the tenacity to really go to the level of Raila Odinga?
To me, all I can say, I'm not on the ground, so I can't tell you for sure, but all I can tell you is I think there's a new generation that's coming. That's why you see a lot of people keep on mentioning this name, Babu Owino. Yes, you cannot compare Raila Odinga with Babu Owino. Raila Odinga has been there since I don't know when. He's been in politics for a long time. But again, the younger generation, yes, they know Baba as the great leader of that region, but soon Baba will leave the political scene, and the person that they've actually seen flourish, who they've grown up knowing the name, is the Babu Owinos and the Sifunas and these young Turks that are standing up and really vocal. So I think, and that's why I say, even if you compare Mbadi and Babu Owino or Sifuna, who would you say has more charisma? It's probably Babu Owino and Sifuna. Mbadi is always in the back in the parliament. Yes, he makes his arguments of the parliament, but to the public, he's not that appealing compared to the others.
All right.
Yes.
Maybe even if I was to engage both you and Mr. J, let me ask you this. At one point, we ought to have that question, that debate of who replaces Raila Odinga. And the big question would be, will ODM survive without him? Or will we have it break down because parties in Kenya are as good as the people who head them? Wiper because of Kalonzo, Kanu because of Moi. After Moi, it degenerated. Jubilee the same. ODM, do you see it survive this shakeup?
As long as Raila is alive, ODM will stay alive, because just because he goes to AU does not mean that he cannot fly in and aweke vitu kwa in place. So they will still stick around because Raila is still around and alive. But when Raila, God forbid, if he leaves us, I think 5 minutes after his funeral, ODM will be done. Everyone will jump ship. That's how I see it. But maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong.
Our politics, are they issue based or they revolve around personality? Is because I'm asking because the reason I'm asking is, with Baba's exit, many people feel disgruntled. Many are not yet settled. Many are complaining. Others are lamenting. There's a lot of garnishing of teeth going around. even those who are celebrating, they're not doing it from a clean heart. All right. So our politics, both government and opposition, have they ever been issue based, or they have always revolved around personalities?
You know what, Jakes? I'm so happy because we are making a slow transition. I think it's still largely tribal and regional, but you know, when you with time, and even if you see in the blogosphere, when you go to Twitter and you go to this, the people that make these blogs and whatever, they talk about the issues. You hear people quote the Constitution. They talk about what needs to be done, what the inconsistencies between different factions. So I think your generation ya kina Raila, as they phase out, okay, we are going to have an Ninio that will be issue based. Now, it might not come in tomorrow. I think it will take time, maybe 7, 5, 10 years from now, but it's coming. It's getting to a point where hii story ya ukabila itakuwa hapo. That's just our nature. Ukabila iko, you can't divorce from that, but it will be mainly itaanza kuwa issue based, because kama saizi, kama vile ulikuwa nasikia watu Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, they both agreed on one thing, that gharama ya maisha iko juu. That is not a tribal issue. Hiyo ina affect kila mtu, and that was what people are rallying around in agreement. So that's a step. I was, au kuona mtu wa kutoka huko Eldoret ama Wasingisho nasema sisi huku maisha ni mzuri, ni kaeni huko mkabebe msufura. So we are making progress.
My final question to you, when you look at, there are people who have capitalized on Raila Odinga, akina Makau Mutua, name them, eh?
Yes.
With the exit of Raila Odinga, do they lose automatic relevance?
Makau Mutua, when you talk about Makau Mutua, he still be relevant because he posted something. In fact, he posted something that saying Kalonzo is the most experienced, is the best option. The rest are just something, whatever. So I believe Makau Mutua will have a role to play in Kalonzo's next bid for presidency. So he'll kind of be relevant. But wakina, who can I say? Maybe watu wabunge la wananchi might find another job because, but yeah, there's some people who will become casualties. Like I say, Jakes, most Nyanza politicians who have been calling Raila's name, they will survive up until Raila actually dies. That's when, everyone will be looked differently, and they'll have no name to hang on so that they can get votes. But it's like, again, if you were to take people like Owalo and the PS or Molo, whatever his name is, that's a sign that pole gradually politics. Nakwambia, politics will change. Raila alikaa, he covered a lot of ground, so that's why this AU thing might be actually a blessing to Kenya. It might revolutionize Kenyan politics in a way, not completely as we would like to see it, but it will be a big step. Naona kama una sweat up, usingizi na kushika. Pole Jakes, now niliomaliza.
Not really. It's because I love what you're saying. Because it now brings this question. Owalo and PS Omolo wamekuwa praised and equally bastardized in almost equal measure. With Raila's exit, will their significance be amplified?
Yes. There was a funeral that happened 2 weeks ago. I don't know whose funeral it was, where Orengo, Otiende Amolo, and the ODM gang were there. Then also Owalo and PS Omolo was there. And they were, walikuwa na sema nyi watu wa government nini. But anyway, the point is, when Owalo made his speech, there was a crowd that actually agreed with him. They were clapping at him, not enthusiastically as when Otiende Amolo got to the stage or Nani, but they of course his speech was not to praise the president. His speech was basically, hey, mimi nafanya kazi kwa government na nimekuja kuangalia hapa vile naweza kuwasaidia, and I'm here to bury my friend. So he was very diplomatic, and I think people received him well. Of course wakina Orengo vile waliingia hapo wakaanza kuchafua hiyo maneno, but that's just an example of how, I mean, if today you can go to Nyanza and as somebody who works for the government, and the people there at that point were not happy about the government, and they still managed to get a round of applause. I think it's a huge step. It's a huge step. So yes, I agree with you, and I buy into this Raila not being around, especially now that we know he will be working with Ruto to some extent. That will actually itafanya wakina PS Omolo and Owalo, especially Owalo, they'll become household names. They'll become huge within Nyanza. Not as big as Raila, but there'll be a name a name that you can't ignore. Yes, I see that.
All right. Now, finally, what happens to Orengo and this governor for Kisumu? They have really stood with Raila Odinga all these years. Could this equally be how they exit eventually?
No, I don't think they'll exit. Orengo is like, they've been with Raila for years. So they come from that generation. And I think people, even though they might not be popular to some extent, as far as their performance, but people respect them because they come from that. They are close to Baba. They are Baba's confidants. So they'll always get that respect. But until they phase out, which they are in a way, they'll be still revered in Nyanza province at least.
All right, fantastic. I really love how you have responded today. You can be very good, eh?
I was actually looking forward to have a nice discussion with my panelists.
We will definitely have it. Don't worry. We'll definitely
violence.
Yeah,
I'm saved.
All right, fantastic. We'll definitely have a good one soon enough. Thank you very much. I hope to see you tomorrow. But in the morning we have a new show. But equally you're used to it. It's the news review. Please join us if you can. And many of you joining us, please kindly consider subscribing to Kenya Newslink and equally following all our programs and being part of this great conversation. Thank you so much, Mr. Kenya Revolutionary. And fantastic. And equally follow this good guy in his channel. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Let's listen into this even as I come in to wrap.
Tunasema Kenya mpya inawezekana.
All right. Inawezekana, kumbe vitu vingine zenye tulikuwa tunadhani haziwezekani kumbe zinaweza wezekana, eh? Who would ever thought would see a picture like that, what we have been looking at, between Raila Odinga, one president for Uganda, and equally William Ruto. Why? Inawezekana kumbe. Thank you so much for being part of this great show that we have had. One, we equally want to really appreciate you for sticking around this while. Asante sana. Thank you for the many that took time to comment, to watch, to participate, to be part of this show. All I can say from here is thank you very, very, very much. I know you have subscribed to Mtembei, to NaxFab, and to all these other nice places. But equally consider subscribing to Kenya Newslink. Therein lies so many beautiful content for you. Follow us there and you will get enough content. I appreciate you for subscribing to Mtembei. I appreciate you for subscribing to all these other channels, but equally consider subscribing to Kenya Newslink. This is the newest channel in town, and equally we are growing at a very nice rate, and we are doing it because you guys are helping us grow together. Asante sana. All right, equally, let's meet tomorrow bright and early. We look at the newspapers and other news making headlines. We'll tackle a very interesting topic. Please, you don't want to miss that one. We'll have equally able panelists to help us look at that interesting topic. Asante sana for being part of this amazing team that has been bringing you all this content all this while. Asante sana. And of course, I'm your host, Jex, the moderator. Asante sana for making me be part of you. Okay, this is where you find us. This is home. This is where you get all the content. Of course, Kenya Newslink is your home for such content. Asante sana. God bless you. See you tomorrow. I leave you with this good song. As I said the other day, you guys are our best people. You are the people we really celebrate each time. Okay, you are our heroes. You have made us feel good, and we'll do so by giving you this song. This is Kenya Newslink. See you tomorrow bright and early. God bless you. See you.
Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa simama. Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Najivunia taifa langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa simama. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa simama.
Kenya yaito beautiful, mazingira tobwate colorful. Aba Kenya na bantu wonderful, proud to be Kenyan, I'm grateful. Omo na bujinguru jaito, chinguru jaito, tosige tabasani benze yaito. Omo rembo ito.
Aseo wamo, tochite amo. Tusonge kwa pamoja. Tumetoka mbali, tunaenda mbali. Sote kwa pamoja. Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Najivunia taifa langu, mimi ni shujaa, shujaa. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, simama, wewe shujaa simama. Simama, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa simama.
Never do a calling tumpoli kuanga tugo tuangalia ukatumo kibuka. Kenya yaito nese ya mashujoka. Never kigano katingo suka.
Yangu, jukumu langu, naitenga nchi yangu. Hatuchagui kazi, kazi ni kazi. Boda boda, vijana mitaani.
Kenya yaito molembe. No bomo no wachani talikende. Nande tiganya saya atolende. Atogitera tuagatebo tambe.
Nchi yangu, jukumu langu, Wakenya wote simama. Simama, wewe shujaa, simama.
Ukabila ni mbaya, ndo maana na upinga. Shujaa namba moja, nchi yangu nailinda. Tunapenda amani, upendo na haki. Tumetoka kwa giza, twaishi kwa mwanga. Wanamuziki ni shujaa, walimu wote ni shujaa, madaktari ni shujaa, na wachimba migodi ni shujaa, wavuvi nao ni shujaa, wanariadha ni shujaa, wachezaji wote ni shujaa. Bang 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 bang.